Chapter 29. Sheng Xiao turned and quickly asked when he saw Mu Qiqi. "Why are you awake? It's really you?" Mu Qiqi walked up to Sheng Xiao in her pink pajamas, appearing very excited. "Why aren't you going in now that you're back?" "I'm flying to France soon," Sheng Xiao told her even as he put on his black gloves. "Oh, when are you coming back?" "I'm not sure," Sheng Xiao replied. Mu Qiqi lowered her head to hide her disappointed look before looking up again. "Then hurry up and leave. Did you see anything at the door?" Sheng Xiao returned to the living room and asked her since he had been discovered. "I didn't turn on the lights just now." With that, Mu Qiqi quickly went upstairs and found the blue gift box by the door. She picked it up and opened it, only to find a hair accessory embedded with a blue diamond inside. Delighted, Mu Qiqi quickly went downstairs and asked Sheng Xiao, "Is this for me?" Sheng Xiao nodded. A coming-of-age present? Mu Qiqi understood then. He had come to give her a coming-of-age present before he left. Mu Qiqi felt an impulse when she saw the sparkling diamond hair accessory. She did not just think about it. She simply got close to Sheng Xiao, tiptoed and kissed his cheek softly. Sheng Xiao froze while Mu Qiqi's heart was pounding. Perhaps afraid that Sheng Xiao would get angry, Mu Qiqi quickly turned and hurried upstairs with the present. "Be careful on the road." "I'm going back to sleep." Sheng Xiao reached out to touch the spot where Mu Qiqi had kissed him. Wasn't this little one a little too wild? Still, he did not get angry. Instead, he glanced at Su Zipei's room by reflex to make sure that he did not disturb her, and only turned to leave as if nothing happened. Mu Qiqi excitedly jumped onto the white bed when she entered the room, as if she had done something shameful, feeling both embarrassed and excited. Downstairs, Sheng Xiao had already driven away, but Mu Qiqi's wildly beating heart could not calm down. Then she hid under the blanket and opened the gift box again, taking out the hair accessory and holding it in her palm. In that very moment, Mu Qiqi felt as if she had received a treasure. It was from Sheng Xiao. It was his coming-of-age present. What should she do? She might not be able to sleep well tonight. Moreover, she kissed Xiao Xiao. Although she felt that she had done something wrong, she could not control herself. It was past midnight. She was 18 years old. She was an adult now. Could she like someone else now? In fact, it wasn't just Mu Qiqi. Even Sheng Xiao was reminiscing the kiss on his cheek on the way to the airport. It was not like an adult's kiss at all. It was filled with desire. Mu Qiqi's kiss was unbelievably gentle. Of course, it was also unbelievably intimate. As for him, instead of stopping them, they fell into the trap. His first reaction after being kissed was to hide it from others, especially Su Zipei. He wanted to treasure Mu Qiqi's love. Soon, Sheng Xiao arrived at the airport. Jing Yun told him that he was waiting in the VIP lounge. Jing Yun took the ticket and said, "Young master, it's time to go through the security check." He suddenly remembered what Mu Qiqi had asked him. When would he be back? Sheng Xiao thought for a moment, put on his gloves again and turned to leave the airport. "Young master, where are you going?" "Go home and sleep. But there's the product launch in France tomorrow. The old man is already there. It's not that important whether I go or not. Moreover, I've been busy for so long. I want to give myself a break." Jing Yun was taken aback. But he was used to it. Sheng Xiao's temperament was unpredictable. No one could force him to do something he didn't want to do. With that, Sheng Xiao left the airport. Although Jing Yun was helpless, he was not surprised. He gave Papa Sheng a call and reported the situation. Papa Sheng snorted coldly on the other end. "I knew he was like this. It's fine if he doesn't come. Jing Yun, prepare well." "Yes, master," Jing Yun replied. Mu Qiqi did not know that Sheng Xiao did not leave Jianchuan. She went to school the next morning, but Su Zipei asked her during breakfast, "Did you hear anything in the middle of the night?" Mu Qiqi's heart skipped a beat. But she still answered calmly, "Aunt, did you hear it wrong?" "Forget it. Why would I ask you? It's your birthday today. I've made something delicious for you. Bring it to school later." "Thank you, Aunt Zipei." Afraid that Su Zipei would question her about last night, Mu Qiqi quickly left after breakfast. After all, she realized that she must not let anyone know that she liked Sheng Xiao. Otherwise, her aunt would be the first to disagree. She was only 18 while Sheng Xiao was 26. Moreover, they were practically adopted. In Su Zipei's heart, Sheng Xiao was Mu Qiqi's older brother. There was nothing else. How could she know that Mu Qiqi had so many thoughts about Sheng Xiao? Mu Qiqi reminded herself that even if she really liked Sheng Xiao, she must hide it carefully for him and for herself. Otherwise, she could foresee that she and her aunt would not be able to stay in the Sheng family if this matter was exposed. She must keep her diary even more carefully. When she reached school, Mu Tangxue was already telling her classmates about the time for the party. Of course she would remind Mu Qiqi as well. Sister will be at home at 6:30. See you there. Aunt Zipei is coming too. Mu Qiqi snorted coldly at Mu Tangxue. She might not be able to enjoy her glory tonight if she was so smug now. When Mu Qiqi returned home after school, she found that Su Zipei was completely unprepared. Aren't you coming, Aunt Zipei? Mu Qiqi asked her in confusion. I have other things to do, so I won't be going. Moreover, I'll only embarrass you if I go. You can just go. Su Zipei smiled. I'll make you a cake at home and wait for you to come home to celebrate. But, I believe in you. You can handle it now. You're an adult now. No one can force you to do anything you don't want to do. Su Zipei handed the gown to Mu Qiqi. Put it on. I'll help you dress up. Mu Qiqi nodded. Mu Qiqi simply did not expect that Su Zipei was preparing a surprise for her. Since it was a coming-of-age ceremony, she certainly could not simply miss it. As her aunt, she had no other ability but to try her best to make her niece happy. Mu Qiqi nodded and did not force Su Zipei. She simply took the dress to her room and put it on. Now, she was the young lady of the Sheng family and not the Mu family. Chapter 30. The Mu family had decorated the mansion lavishly so that Mu Tangxue could entertain her classmates in style. The decorations were all exquisite and expensive, and it looked like a pink princess's castle. Mu Tangxue's dress for the evening was a pale pink one-shoulder gown, making her look noble and imposing like a princess from a medieval fairy tale. Her classmates arrived one after another, bringing the presents they had chosen. Even Mu Qiqi's desk mate Qian Qian was there, but Mu Qiqi was nowhere to be seen. Strangely, Mama Mu appeared kind and the servants of the Mu family were easygoing. It was hard to imagine that Mu Qiqi would be treated differently in this family. Mu Tangxue was the center of attention. She was beautiful and elegant among her classmates, and was certainly eye-catching. Tangxue, you're so beautiful tonight. Tangxue, why is your figure so good? Girls would always talk about such things after class, especially those from prestigious families, who would always talk about international superstars. Mu Tangxue was delighted, but that was when Mama Mu tugged her aside and asked, Where's your sister? Why isn't she here yet? Mommy, I don't know if she's coming. Mu Tangxue told Mama Mu that, because she believed that Mu Qiqi would not dare to come and humiliate herself. After all, was there any place for her in the Mu family now? It's already so late. Why is she still the same as before when she's gone somewhere else? She doesn't seem to have any manners at all. Mu Tangxue chuckled softly, and acted coquettishly in front of Mama Mu. Mommy, you can't blame her. After all, she's alone outside now. Her guardianship has been taken away. Strictly speaking, she's not my daughter anymore. I invited her to my birthday party out of goodwill, and she's still putting on airs? Mommy, don't be upset because of an outsider. Everyone was looking for Mu Qiqi, but she was nowhere to be found. Everyone was curious about Mu Qiqi's relationship with the Mu family, but it seemed that Mu Qiqi was a dispensable existence to the Mu family. After all, the photos used in the party were all of Mu Tangxue alone, and the other decorations were all of her. There was clearly no place for Mu Qiqi there. Forget it, there's no need to wait. Let's sing the birthday song. Mama Mu held her daughter's hand and walked towards the three-tiered cake. But that was when the butler came in and said to Mama Mu and Mama Mu, Eldest Miss is back. Soon, everyone in the party turned to look at the door, only to see Mu Qiqi walking towards them in a white lace gown. Tonight, Mu Qiqi had put on some light makeup. Her hair was tied up in a bun, which made her look like a forest. Looking at her delicate skin, Mu Qiqi looked like a little fairy under the light. She was surrounded by an ethereal aura and was glowing. Qiqi. Chanshan immediately ran over. I thought you weren't coming. It's my birthday too. Mu Qiqi smiled at Chanshan. Nonetheless, Mama Mu and Mu Tangshue's faces darkened at Mu Qiqi's appearance. It was for no other reason than that Mu Tangxue had taken a fancy to the dress Mu Qiqi was wearing. It turned out that Mu Qiqi had stolen it. Mama Mu glanced at Mu Tangxue before walking up to Mu Qiqi. Qiqi, what time is it? Why did you come so late? Hello, Aunt Mu. Mu Qiqi smiled. I'm sorry. There was a traffic jam on the way and my driver had to take a detour. Mu Qiqi answered gracefully. What embarrassed Mama Mu the most was the way she addressed Mu Qiqi. Aunt Mu. Sister, this is Mom. I'm sorry. I'm not a member of the Mu family if I remember correctly. That's why you have no reason to ask me to come early since I'm a guest. Mu Qiqi smiled. In that moment, Mama Mu was very surprised. Was this still the submissive eldest daughter she knew 5 months ago? Why was she able to speak so eloquently and be so confident? For some reason, Mu Qiqi's personality immediately outshone Mu Tongshue's gentle personality. Everyone watched Mu Qiqi as if they were watching a show and gave her a thumbs up. Awesome. Cool. You can't say that, sister. After all, you've lived here for so many years. I don't need you to remind me of the humiliation. With that, Mu Qiqi moved closer to Mu Tongxue and said, or I'll steal your life like I stole this dress. Mu Tongshue's face fell. I didn't think that's all you've learned in a few months. Mama Mu pretended to be angry at Mu Qiqi. You're not behaving like a lady from a rich family at all. Tongxue, play a piano piece for everyone to liven things up. What's so great about playing the piano? Who here wasn't the daughter of a rich family? Mu Qiqi paid no attention to the Mu family's stares, and simply walked to a corner to chat and laugh with her classmates. Qiqi, why are you talking back to your mother? Qian asked Mu Qiqi in private. I would have been beaten up if it were me. Because I'm not a member of the Mu family anymore. They're clearly here to humiliate me. Do I have to be polite? It's so weird, you two sisters. Qian scratched her head, unable to understand why Mama Mu would look at Mu Qiqi so differently. Of course, the banquet became even more exciting with Mu Qiqi's arrival. Mu Tongxue had been racking her brains to think of ways to suppress Mu Qiqi in front of her classmates. And Mu Qiqi was now full of personality and completely uncontrollable. Everyone in the Mu family was surprised by Mu Qiqi's change. Where had the cowardly, timid, and obedient Mu Qiqi gone? Why didn't anyone recognize the Mu Qiqi now? Mama Mu was not convinced by Mu Qiqi's change either, because her feelings towards her daughter were very complicated. She had given birth to her but caused her endless trouble, and she felt relieved when she sent her away. Still, she sometimes felt sorry for her. But now, she was more curious about why Mu Qiqi could live a more confident life after leaving the Mu family. Could it be that she really did not know how to teach her daughter? To suppress Mu Qiqi's arrogance, Mama Mu took out the present she had prepared for Mu Tongxue. Baby, it's your coming-of-age ceremony. This is the present Mommy prepared for you. Mu Tongxue took the present and opened it in front of everyone, only to find an exquisite pink diamond ring lying inside. Thanks, Mommy. I like it. Chapter 31. That was when Mama Mu walked up to Mu Qiqi with another box. It's your birthday too, she told her. I've prepared this for you. She could tell from the decorations that it was a completely different gift from Mu Tongshue's. What? Using all sorts of tricks to humiliate her, the daughter who had been abandoned? Mu Qiqi sneered inwardly and joked, why is this different from Mu Tongshue's box? You're both my daughters, Qiqi. Why would Mommy prepare a different gift for you? And who's picky about gifts? It's not polite, Mama Mu replied. Mama Mu answered. Stay with me and we'll bring you back when your father's anger subsides. Take it, Qiqi. Qian urged. Sis, it's Mommy's goodwill. She wants you to come home. Mu Tongxue came to Mu Qiqi as well, wanting Mu Qiqi to take it. Mu Qiqi reached out and took the gift box from Mama Mu, but dropped it on the floor because she did not hold it properly. You child, you can't even hold something properly. Mama Mu crouched down angrily and picked up the gift she had prepared, but Mu Qiqi did not take it. Since the heavens don't want me to accept this gift, I'll listen to them. Thank you, Auntie Mu, but I don't think I need it. With those words, Mu Qiqi took out a blue diamond hair accessory and put it on her head. Because I already have the best gift. Wow, it's beautiful. Qian exclaimed. Qiqi, it's a dark blue diamond. Do you know how rare dark blue diamonds are? Mama Mu froze where she was and quickly put the gift box away when she saw the hair accessory on Mu Qiqi's head. After all, it was certainly not a diamond ring as everyone thought. She would only embarrass herself and appear poor if she took it out again. She did not expect that someone would give Mu Qiqi such a precious gift. A dark blue diamond. Everyone crowded around Mu Qiqi to admire the hair accessory. The shape of the starlight definitely suited Mu Qiqi. Mommy? Mu Tongxue was upset that her spotlight had been stolen. Go and cut the cake with your sister. Mama Mu told Mu Tongxue, gesturing at the cake with her chin. Mu Tongxue nodded and walked to Mu Qiqi, holding her hand. Sister, let's cut the cake together. Mu Qiqi was aware of Mu Tongxue's intentions. She had never changed after so many years, and it was obvious that she wanted to frame her on such an occasion. Still, Mu Qiqi did not try to dodge and simply allowed herself to be led by Mu Tongxue to the cake. Sister, although you've left the Mu Jia, you still can't escape the fate of being framed by me. With those words, Mu Tongxue turned to smile at Mu Qiqi, and tripped over herself where no one could see. Everyone saw Mu Tangxue fall, and Mama Mu quickly reached out to help her. Mu Qiqi had been admiring Mu Tangshue's performance from start to finish. Why was she still doing the same thing after so many years? Tangxue, are you alright? Mommy, I'm fine. Mu Tangxue cried. It's not my sister's fault, I tripped myself. At that, Mama Mu quickly walked to Mu Qiqi and said, Qiqi, vent your anger on Mommy. Why don't you change? Why do you still bully your sister? Mama Mu asked. She tripped herself. Who would trip themselves? Mama Mu exclaimed in disbelief. Why are you always so vicious? Everyone was looking at Mu Qiqi, watching as she was blamed. Mu Tangxue was sprawled on the floor, moaning weakly, but there was a smile on her lips. Qiqi. Chen Chen looked at Mu Qiqi worriedly. But Mu Qiqi smiled and walked around Mama Mu to Mu Tangxue, reaching out to help her up. Why were you so careless? Sister. Mu Tangxue called out meekly. I don't blame you really. Mu Qiqi blinked mischievously as she held Mu Tangxue, and promptly shoved Mu Tangxue onto the three-tiered cake. Everyone watched as Mu Tangxue fell awkwardly into the cake, instantly turning into a cake person. It was a very comical sight. Since you said I tripped you, I might as well push you down. Wouldn't I be bearing the blame for nothing? Everyone stared at Mu Qiqi in disbelief, not expecting that she would actually do such a thing. Chen Chen, who was watching in a corner, felt relieved. That was how one should deal with such a drama queen. Mu Qiqi. Mama Mu quickly helped Mu Tangxue up, only to find that Mu Tangxue was crying and running away from everyone. In a fit of rage, Mama Mu raised her hand to slap Mu Qiqi, but Mu Qiqi caught her wrist. Aunt, I'm already an adult. Are you still going to hit me? Aren't you afraid that I'll tell my guardian? No one can say anything if I hit my daughter. Your daughter? Mu Qiqi smiled coldly and snatched the gift box from Mama Mu's hand, opening it in front of everyone to find a pearl necklace that did not look very valuable. Your youngest daughter is a diamond. Why is it a pearl when it's mine? How biased. That's right. They're both daughters. Why is there such a huge difference in treatment? The guests were all looking at Mama Mu in confusion. This is a family matter. Please don't pay too much attention to it. Mama Mu quickly told everyone. It's not like we've wronged her. She knows very well why it's like this. It doesn't matter if it's clear or not. Thank you for your hospitality tonight, Aunt. I think it was very interesting. There's nothing fun to do now that the cake is ruined. My aunt is still waiting for me to eat at home, so I'll be going. With those words, Mu Qiqi turned with a smile, her back neither servile nor overbearing, completely unlike the Mu Qiqi who could be humiliated by anyone before. Happy birthday, Tangxue. I'm going too. With those words, Chen Chen ran after her. Every guest watched as Mu Qiqi left. Now that the party had been ruined, it would be awkward if it continued. That was why everyone else found an excuse to leave as well. Mama Mu's face was unusually dark. Everything that happened today was beyond her expectations. The guests are gone. Aren't you going to clean up? I'm going upstairs to check on Tangxue. The servants immediately cleaned up. Outside the villa, Chen Chen saw Mu Qiqi take out a note from her little backpack and burst into laughter. I was wondering why you were so mighty at night. But you actually rehearsed for yourself beforehand? Mu Qiqi smiled. That family is like a pack of wolves and tigers. I wouldn't have dared to go up if I didn't watch some gangster movies to get myself some lines. Mu Qiqi replied. You're awesome. Chen Chen burst into laughter. Chapter 32. It couldn't be better. Chen Chen gave her a thumbs up and whispered to Mu Qiqi, I even took an embarrassing photo of your sister falling into the cake. I'll send it to you when I'm done. Mu Qiqi hugged Chen Chen and urged her, hurry home. It's so cold. It's worth the cold to watch such an interesting show. With that, Chen Chen got into her chauffeur's car, winking at Mu Qiqi before she left. Mu Qiqi smiled happily and soon found the spot where Old Lin parked his car. Old Lin did not expect Mu Qiqi to come out so soon and quickly asked, Miss Mu Qiqi, did you suffer? No, it's just that it's boring to stay here and it's better to go home and keep my aunt company. Mu Qiqi replied. Uncle Lin, you'll have dinner with us later. I'm just a chauffeur. I don't deserve it. Old Lin joked. In my heart, you and my aunt are both people who truly care about me. Mu Qiqi told him sincerely. Old Lin chuckled, satisfied. After all, Mu Qiqi really treated him as an elder and never looked down on him, which made him feel respected. I really want to keep driving for you, Miss Mu Qiqi. I like you too, Uncle Lin. Old Lin sped up so that Mu Qiqi could reunite with Su Zipei as soon as possible. Still, Su Zipei thought that Mu Chichi had been wronged when she saw her return so soon and quickly asked, "Did the Mu family—" "No, Aunt Zipei. I just missed you," Mu Chichi said coquettishly. "It's good that you weren't bullied. I thought." Su Zipei lowered her guard and led Mu Chichi to sit in front of the cake. "You're an adult from today onwards. You're 18 and no one can order you to do anything you don't want to. I've never been well off and I don't have anything to give you, so I bought you a bracelet." With those words, Su Zipei took out the gift she had prepared for Mu Chichi. "It's nothing expensive, but I've tried my best." Mu Chichi took the box from Su Zipei and her eyes turned red. "This is the best gift I've ever received." Surprisingly, this bracelet had a starry sky theme. It was made up of a few irregular blue stones, and it matched her hair accessories very well. So what if I don't have parents? Mu Chichi thought that she had Uncle Lin, her aunt, and Xiao Xiao. That was enough. Mu Chichi put on the bracelet and made a wish in front of the cake. Then she sang the birthday song with Su Zipei and Uncle Lin. She felt very warm on this coming-of-age night. On the other hand, Mu Tangxue had to clean herself up in the bathroom for about 2 hours after she fell on the cake before she was completely clean. Mu Tangxue burst into tears in her room at the thought of how humiliated she was. Helpless, Mama Mu hugged her daughter and coaxed her, "Shwe, don't cry. Mommy, I've never been so embarrassed." This time Mu Tangxue was really sad. Every time she remembered that all the guests in the living room had seen her fall, she felt so ashamed that she wanted to crawl into a hole. She had never thought that Mu Chichi would treat her like that. She had actually pushed her into a cake in public. "Your sister is to blame for this. I really don't know who taught her how to behave after she went out. What a disgrace." Mama Mu said angrily. "I'm going to tell your father about this." "Mommy, I'm so sad that my sister treated me like this." "All right, Schwer. Your father would definitely uphold justice for you." Uphold justice? How would he do that? Was he supposed to drag Mu Chichi out of Eden and beat her up? They were both daughters, and Mu Chichi was certainly not afraid of the Mu family's vengeance if she could do that. Still, no one expected that Mu Chichi would be so crafty and push Mu Tangxue onto a cake in front of everyone. When Papa Mu returned home, he heard about what happened at the birthday party. Of course, he did not believe it at all. After all, his impression of Mu Chichi was that she was timid and cowardly. How could she humiliate Mu Tangxue in front of so many people? She dared. But the truth was that Mu Chichi dared. After all, she now had someone who could support her. After the birthday party, Mu Chichi returned to her room to rest. There was no telling how Xiao Xiao was doing in France. He must be busy, right? Be that as it may, Mu Chichi could not help sending him a message. "Xiao Xiao, I taught Mu Tangxue a good lesson tonight. Wasn't it great? It's Christmas tomorrow. I hope you have a Merry Christmas too." Mu Chichi thought that there was no telling when he would see her message. She was about to wash up and go to bed when he replied, "Wear something thicker. Come out." Mu Chichi did a double take. "Go out?" "Yes. Don't let your aunt find out." Mu Chichi's heart raced, but she did as she was told. She put on a thick padded jacket and sneaked out of the house when Su Zipei returned to her room. Mu Chichi looked around when she reached the little garden outside the mansion, but did not find Xing Xiao. But just as she was about to call him, a big hand reached out from the darkness and pulled Mu Chichi into his sports car. "Aren't you in France?" Mu Chichi asked in delight when she saw Xing Xiao. "I suddenly don't feel like going." Xing Xiao drove away from the little mansion with Mu Chichi. "Where are we going?" Xing Xiao turned to look at Mu Chichi with a dangerous look in his eyes. "I'm bringing you to do something bad, of course." Mu Chichi did not dare to look at him at all. Instead, her heart raced and her face lowered, blushing. Did Xing Xiao know that she liked him? Mu Chichi did not dare to say a word along the way. It was only when they arrived at the seaside that Xing Xiao got out of the car against the cold wind. Mu Chichi followed him out of the car, and found that someone was releasing Kongming lanterns by the seaside. Yes, she was beautiful, but she was very cold. Mu Chichi was shivering all over. At that, Xing Xiao pulled Mu Chichi to him and clamped her between his arms. Mu Chichi's heart raced even faster. She almost suffocated. "Why are we here?" Mu Chichi asked, looking up. "Xiao Xiao, I'm cold." Helpless, Xing Xiao brought Mu Chichi back to the car and opened the sunroof. Mu Chichi's cheeks were flushed, but it was frozen red in that very moment. Xing Xiao pinched her cheek, and Mu Chichi held his hand in pain. Both Xing Xiao and Mu Chichi froze at the gesture. Chapter 33. Xing Xiao did not look at Mu Chichi's eyes, but wrapped his warm palm around her small one. Mu Chichi said nothing. She was afraid of breaking that moment of bliss, and could only lower her head awkwardly and look elsewhere. Xiao Xiao was holding her hand. Xiao Xiao was holding her hand. Xing Xiao said nothing either, and the pair stayed in silence for around 10 minutes. It was only when someone came to urge them to move the car that Xing Xiao let go of Mu Qiqi's hand. Mu Qiqi was disappointed that her hand was suddenly empty, as if she could still feel Xing Xiao's warmth. "Are you warm?" Xing Xiao asked Mu Qiqi as they drove away. A little warmer." Mu Qiqi quickly answered. "Much warmer." "Then where are we going now?" There were few in Jianchuan who did not know Xing Xiao, which was why he would attract attention wherever he went. It was only a matter of time before everyone found out if he openly brought his little one to other places. That was why he could only bring Mu Qiqi to the seaside. But the seaside was cold. Seeing Mu Qiqi's cheeks reddening from the cold, Xing Xiao could only bring her back. However, his actions left Mu Qiqi very confused. "Are we going back now, Xiao Xiao?" Xing Xiao stopped the car as they entered the garden of the little mansion. He simply stayed quietly with Mu Qiqi, not answering her question. That left Mu Qiqi feeling that Xing Xiao was acting very strange tonight. "What's wrong, Xiao Xiao?" Who was Xing Xiao? The great crown prince of Huang Yao, who often killed without a trace in the business world. Even so, he was at a loss when it came to the little girl. His emotions were very complicated when he faced Mu Qiqi. He wanted to take the little one for himself at all costs, but he was afraid of burdening her. He did not care, and he would fight or kneel if he wanted to. But Mu Qiqi's life was as if she was walking on thin ice every day. She had just turned 18 and had yet to understand the Mu family. If she joined the Xing family's opposition, Mu Qiqi's life would never have a day of peace. That was why he restrained himself. For 26 years Xing Xiao did not know what restraint was. But now he admitted defeat, as if he suddenly had a weakness in Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi was a little scared when she saw the gloomy look on his face. Could it be that she had upset him somehow? "Xiao Xiao." Xing Xiao did not answer Mu Qiqi. Instead, he took out a box from his storage cabinet and threw it at Mu Qiqi, his demeanor reverting to the devilish crown prince he usually was. "A reward for you." "What?" Mu Qiqi opened the box to find the latest white mobile phone. "A mobile phone? Replace your outdated phone that can only send text messages," Xing Xiao ordered. "I've already saved his phone number for you." Mu Qiqi nodded and held the phone in her arms. "I understand, Xiao Xiao. Go back, your aunt will look for you later." Xing Xiao reminded himself to stay calm. He had to restrain himself no matter how much he wanted to be with Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi nodded. She was a little disappointed, but she was very obedient. Mu Qiqi really thought that Xing Xiao would bring her to do something bad. In fact, she knew that Xing Xiao would not, but she was secretly anticipating it. Then Mu Qiqi turned and opened the car door, but that was when she turned and asked Xing Xiao, "Xiao Xiao, it's a little pretentious for me to say this, but I still have to say it. You're the reason why I'm a new me. Thank you for giving me a second life." "You're so long-winded," Xing Xiao said impatiently. Mu Qiqi smiled and went with the flow to lean on Xing Xiao's shoulder tentatively. Xing Xiao tried to push her head away by reflex, but did not push her too far. Satisfied, Mu Qiqi paused for a long time before saying, "Good night, Xiao Xiao." "Okay." Xing Xiao grunted coldly and drove away after putting Mu Qiqi down. Did Mu Qiqi know that this was an interaction only between lovers would have? Mu Qiqi knew nothing and had never been in a relationship. All she wanted was to get closer to Xing Xiao just a little. She was really satisfied with this coming-of-age night. Watching as Xing Xiao's car drove away, Mu Qiqi tiptoed back to her room and wrote down everything that happened that night in her diary. Of course, for safety reasons, Mu Qiqi did not write anyone else's name in her diary, and always used he or she. Mu Qiqi simply lay on her bed when she remembered that Xing Xiao had held her hand that night, kicking her legs in joy. Her feelings for Xing Xiao seemed to have taken root through one incident after another. That is, she must not let her aunt find out. Otherwise, she was afraid that she would never be able to keep liking Xing Xiao. When he got home, Xing Xiao desperately splashed cold water over his head, because he realized that he was not the usual wanton Xing Xiao. Why was that? Why would he have such strange feelings for a little girl? He was used to seeing beauties of all shapes and sizes, and it was not as if he had never had physical contact. But why was it that holding the little one's hand would make him so excited? Was that what he meant by liking her? Even so, the little one was still so small. To calm himself, Xing Xiao stood under the shower head and drenched himself with cold water. Perhaps he really wanted to understand what kind of feelings he had for Mu Qiqi. The next day, all of Jianchuan was shrouded in the Christmas spirit. Mu Qiqi went to school as usual, but found that Mu Tangxue had asked for leave due to illness when she arrived. Everyone knew why Mu Tangxue had asked for leave when they remembered what happened at the Mu family last night. But could she hide forever even if she could? Was there a need to be secretive when she was already lost? Qian Qian deliberately showed Mu Qiqi the photo in her phone. I'm dying of laughter. Ah. Mu Qiqi laughed as well. She did not expect that Mu Tangxue was quite photogenic. Still, their happiness did not last long before they were called into the teacher's office. Mu Qiqi did not know why, until she saw Papa Mu in the office. Mu Qiqi froze. This was the person she was most afraid of in the Mu Jia, and also the person she hated the most. After 5 months they finally met. Qiqi, your father seems to have something to tell you personally. Mu Qiqi's palms were sweating. After all, Papa Mu had pressured her immensely. Even if she had Xing Zhao's support now, she felt conflicted whenever she remembered how Papa Mu had punished her. I wonder what Uncle Mu wants from me. Chapter 34. Frame? Kindness? Although Mu Qiqi was used to those words coming out of her father's mouth, she still found it rather embarrassing in front of her teacher. However, she was no longer a member of the Mu family. Even if she had that man's blood flowing in her veins, legally speaking, her custody was no longer in the hands of that man. Moreover, she had just become an adult yesterday. So why should she be afraid? Why should she be afraid? At that thought, Mu Qiqi looked up at Papa Mu. I'm sorry, Uncle Mu. Mu Tangxue tripped herself on purpose to frame me. That's why I pushed her. If you want to blame someone, you should blame your precious daughter, not me. Papa Mu could not hold back his anger at Mu Qiqi's firm words. He was about to slap Mu Qiqi, but the teacher stopped him. Parent, this is a school. Teacher, let him do it. There are cameras here anyway and I'll let him see my lawyer. Mu Qiqi said directly. Papa Mu stared at Mu Qiqi in disbelief. He did not expect that she had become so crafty in just a few months. How did your sponsor teach you? Where's your sense of propriety? I don't have propriety, but it's better than someone who can't differentiate between humans and animals. Mu Qiqi replied calmly. The teacher stopped Papa Mu again when he saw how agitated he was. Parent, calm down. This is an educational place. Teacher, you don't have to stop me from teaching that little brat a lesson. She was chased out of the Mu family because she killed her own grandmother, and I've only chased her out since we shouldn't wash our dirty linen in public. I didn't expect her to get worse and even frame her own sister. The teacher looked at Mu Qiqi in surprise when she was done. Mu Qiqi, however, emphasized with a hint of helplessness. I told you it's Mu Tangxue who fed Grandma the wrong medicine. You're still quibbling. Tangxue has always been filial to her grandmother. That's not evidence to convict me of killing Grandma. I'm sorry. Mu Qiqi retorted stubbornly. The teacher caught the crux of their conversation, and was shocked at how Papa Mu treated Mu Qiqi. You still have the nerve to say that? How much trouble have you caused for your family since you were young? Do I need to tell you everything from the beginning to the end? Mu Qiqi bit her lip. Feeling wronged, she stopped talking. Listen up, Mu Qiqi. I won't go easy on you if you harm Tangxue again. With that, Papa Mu turned and left the teacher's office, leaving the teacher with a complicated expression and the humiliated Mu Qiqi. However, she did not cry. Instead, she stubbornly raised her head and let her tears fall. Then Mu Qiqi looked at her teacher, her voice trembling. Teacher, please believe me. I really didn't kill Grandma. The teacher's heart ached when she saw that. She quickly hugged Mu Qiqi and comforted her as if she was her own child. I believe you. I really do. After all, she had seen with her own eyes how Mu Tangxue behaved one way in front of others and another behind their backs. That was why she would definitely believe Mu Qiqi if she had to choose between the twins. Moreover, what surprised her was Papa Mu's attitude towards the two sisters. Wasn't it too different? Hence, the teacher asked Mu Qiqi for the reason. As if she had found a second mother, Mu Qiqi told her everything she had been through over the years, including how she was chased out of the house and sold off by her uncle. Her teacher was silent for a long time after she was done, before adjusting her glasses and comforting her. Qiqi, humans are born as blank sheets of paper, and it's instinct to make choices and reactions that start with them. That's why there's no such thing as kindness in this world. All kindness is bestowed upon us by our environment and moral standards. There are also some people who are born to be actors and have a very strong acting personality. There are even some who know how to do evil from birth. Haven't we seen it all in the news? Children of a few years old strangling their neighbor's baby, or girls of a few years old purposely abandoning their stepmother's child. Those are all facts. That's not unusual. You just happen to meet a younger sister who's so good at acting. Twins would fight for attention even when they're in the womb. That's why you have to face the problem. It's not your fault, understand? Muchichi nodded. As for your original family, there's nothing to hope for. Rich families probably only care about profit. You're an adult now, and all I can say is that you've met a great sponsor. You're great too, and you must hold your head high in the future. It's fine, okay? In fact, Muchichi understood all that. She just hoped that her teacher would believe her. Don't worry and go to class. I'll keep it a secret. Muchichi nodded and bowed deeply to her teacher in gratitude. As for the Mu family, she had completely given up on them. From now on, she would never give in to the Mu family. At least, Papa Mu's days of beating and scolding as he pleased were over. When they returned to class, Chen Chen quickly asked Muchichi, "Did you get scolded by your teacher?" "No." Muchichi shook her head. "She's very good to me. But you've been gone for so long. I was so worried." Muchichi no longer expected Mu Tangxue to change. After all, she never had a conscience. As for her parents, it was as her teacher had said, let them go with the wind and pretend that she was born out of a rock. That was fine. When they got home that night, Muchichi told Su Zipei about her encounter with Papa Mu in school. Su Zipei was almost in tears when she heard about it. "I've never seen such an animal father." Aunt Zipei, taking a deep breath, Su Zipei waved her off. "You're fine now. Just pretend that the family is dead." Muchichi nodded and helped Su Zipei. They were about to eat when Xing Xiao strutted into the living room and took a seat at the dining table. Muchichi blushed when she saw Xing Xiao. She remembered how they held hands last night. She could still feel his warmth on her palm. "Young Master Xing, you're not going out with anyone for Christmas today?" Su Zipei asked, adding an extra pair of chopsticks. "It's too noisy outside. It's quieter here." With that, Xing Xiao picked up the chopsticks and started eating without holding back. "Why don't you have a girlfriend?" Su Zipei asked. "You're in your prime at your age." Xing Xiao glanced at Muchichi by reflex, only to find that she was lowering her head, almost burying her face in her bowl. "I'm looking." Xing Xiao simply answered Su Zipei. "Chichi and I will bless you when you find one." Chapter 35. Xing Xiao glanced at Muchichi out of the corner of his eye but said nothing. Muchichi quickly finished the rice in her bowl and told them, "I'm going back to my room." "Is the child full?" Su Zipei did not sense the unusual atmosphere between them at all, and simply watched as Muchichi hurried upstairs. She did not want Su Zipei to see her blush, afraid that her aunt would suspect her. "Please don't mind her, young Master Xing. The child was wronged again in school today." Su Zipei explained to Xing Xiao. "Wronged?" Xing Xiao's eyes darkened at once. Su Zipei put down her bowl and chopsticks at the question, and told Xing Xiao about Muchichi's humiliation by Papa Mu in school. "That animal of a brother-in-law of mine told the teacher that Muchichi killed Grandma. He only told the teacher today. Who could guarantee that he would announce it to the whole world to protect Mu Tangxue one day? Muchichi could not take such a blow. What would others think of her? Is she called a murderer at such a young age?" As a matter of fact, Muchichi was hiding by the stairs on the second floor, secretly eavesdropping on their conversation. She felt aggrieved when she remembered Papa Mu's outrageous behavior in school today and his incessant questioning. Xing Xiao did not say anything about the matter, and only sent Muchichi a message when Su Zipei cleared the dishes. "Meet at the same place later. Wear thick clothes." Muchichi wiped away her tears when she read the message, and quickly returned to her room to change into warm clothes. What if Xing Xiao brought her to the beach again? Late into the night, when Su Zipei returned to her room to rest, Muchichi tiptoed out the door and sprinted to where Xing Xiao was at the speed of a 100-meter sprint. Xing Xiao had switched to an inconspicuous black car, and brought Muchichi to the revolving restaurant in front of the amusement park. There was a Christmas atmosphere everywhere in Jianchuan at the moment, especially the huge Christmas tree in front of the amusement park. Muchichi liked it very much when she saw it. "Xiao Xiao, I want to go for a walk." Xing Xiao tilted his head and glanced at Muchichi. When he saw that she was wearing a thick cotton-padded jacket, he nodded. "I'll park the car somewhere quiet. You can take a look." "Okay." In fact, Muchichi was very satisfied with that. When Xing Xiao got closer, she quickly took out her phone from her backpack and took a picture of the huge, twinkling Christmas tree. "Xiao Xiao, look." Xing Xiao never cared about festivals. To him, Christmas and Tomb Sweeping Day were just the difference between whether people would come to Huangyao to buy gifts. Still, seeing that Muchichi liked the festive atmosphere so much, He did not say a word and simply led her away. This time they boarded a yacht in the amusement park. Floating on the river, there were only the two of them on the boat. Muqiqi pretended to admire the night scenery around her, but her attention was fully focused on Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao sat on the boat for a long time before asking, "Have you seen enough?" Muqiqi quickly averted her gaze. "If anyone from the Mu family uses your grandmother's death to threaten you again, just blow it up. The Sheng family has a team of lawyers who wouldn't mind working with the police to investigate the real cause of her death. But there were only two of us in the room. What are you afraid of? She's either you or her murderer. You can't find any evidence that she's the culprit, and she has no evidence that you're the culprit." Xing Xiao retorted coldly. "Your sister pretending to be a white lotus might work on your family but not on others. If something like this happens again and you're wronged, fight back. What's there to endure?" Muqiqi said nothing and could only nod frantically. "Remember that your own happiness is the most important. Some people don't deserve your consideration." Muqiqi sat across from Xing Xiao on the windy river listening to his lecture. After all, she knew that there weren't many people in this world who truly wanted her to be happy, and Xing Xiao was one of them. Then Xing Xiao put his arm around Muqiqi's shoulder and let her lean on him. It appeared to be a gesture to protect her from falling into the river, but for Muqiqi, any chance to be near Xing Xiao made her extraordinarily happy. Did Xing Xiao do that because he liked her too? Of course, Muqiqi didn't dare to ask, but she was already pleasantly surprised. And because of Xing Xiao's love, Muqiqi became bolder and bolder. "You changed your car?" "My car is in the garage again." Xing Xiao answered nonchalantly, but his handsome face was so handsome that it angered even the gods. "Xiao Xiao, my hands are cold." Xing Xiao said nothing, and simply took out a pair of red Christmas gloves from his pocket and threw it to Muqiqi. "I got it from Huang Yao's event today." Muqiqi felt sweetness in her heart. She felt that Xing Xiao was giving her more and more things, while she hadn't given him anything yet. She couldn't afford anything expensive. "Xiao Xiao, I haven't prepared a Christmas present for you." Xing Xiao sneered at that. "I can even afford you. What do you think I lack?" "That's different." Muqiqi thought to herself that she would definitely give Xing Xiao a proper present. The time on the cruise seemed long, but it was actually very short. After all, Xing Xiao couldn't let Muqiqi stay outside for too long. Coming out to play was already a gesture. So, after they disembarked, they got into the car and returned to the small mansion. At that moment, Muqiqi had eyes for no one but the man she had a crush on, and liked him a little more every day. Soon they arrived at the small mansion, and Muqiqi reluctantly got out of Xing Xiao's car, quietly opened the door and went back to her room. Xing Xiao was waiting downstairs and only left after she turned off the lights. But, when he got out of the car, he was attracted by the stationery and notebooks that were scattered beside the passenger seat. It must have slipped out of Muqiqi's bag when she took out her phone. Xing Xiao picked up the notebook and the stationery, put them on the desk in his room, and went straight to the bathroom to wash up. When he came out with a towel wrapped around him, he returned to the desk and picked up Muqiqi's brown notebook. The little one actually had the habit of keeping a diary. Holding the notebook, Xing Xiao lay down on the bed and switched on the bedside lamp. Chapter 36. Under the night light, Xing Xiao opened Muqiqi's diary. In fact, he was very nervous. As the crown prince of Huang Yao, he had never bothered to do what he thought was a lowly thing. But this diary was different. A diary was a person's most private matter, just as it could record a person's darkness and malice. Hence, Xing Xiao promptly flipped to the last page of the diary, not reading a single word before that. The last thing Muqiqi recorded was the time they held hands at the seaside. In that very moment, everything that was on Muqiqi's mind was exposed to Xing Xiao, and he was even more certain of the little one's feelings. She liked him a lot. That others might not understand, but he would never not understand. It was something they had experienced together, and he would never forget that he was not referring to himself unless he was forgetful. After reading the last page, Xing Xiao closed Muqiqi's diary, changed his clothes and called Jing Yun. He was actually going to Muqiqi's classroom in Eton in the middle of the night. Jing Yun did not understand at all what Xing Xiao was doing, but quickly contacted the principal and did as he was told. Without anyone noticing, Xing Xiao entered the school and found Muqiqi's desk. Then he put the diary and stationery that Muqiqi had left in his car into Muqiqi's drawer. When Jing Yun saw Xing Xiao from outside the classroom, he suddenly felt that Xing Xiao was becoming more attentive towards Muqiqi. He had personally come here in the middle of the night just to put Muchichi's diary back on her desk. "Young master, we should go," Jingyun reminded him. Sheng Xiao put the diary away and left the classroom. The two of them left quietly, pretending that nothing had happened. Still, Jingyun couldn't help asking Sheng Xiao on the way, "Young master, you could have let me do this." Sheng Xiao was sitting in the back seat, his head tilted backward and his eyes closed, but his voice was cold. "Can I still trust you, Jingyun?" Jingyun did a double take and couldn't speak for some time. Still, Sheng Xiao's question had touched the bottom of his heart, and it was after a long time that he finally spoke his mind. "Young master, we grew up together. You should know very well what kind of person I am." It was clear in the past, but it might not be the case now. Sheng Xiao straightened up and looked at Jingyun through the rearview mirror. "I know you don't like Muchichi. In your heart, I have to serve the Sheng family wholeheartedly. That's why you are loyal to the Sheng family, not me. You've already become someone who can't communicate with me." Jingyun was speechless. He could not say anything. Although Sheng Xiao appeared to be free and unrestrained, he had always been a meticulous person. That was also why he wanted to return Muchichi's diary personally. He no longer trusted Jingyun, and if Jingyun saw the contents of Muchichi's diary, what would he do to Muchichi? Even he had only read the last page of Muchichi's diary. Although he appeared to be fierce and untouchable, he knew to respect the people he valued from the bottom of his heart. Both master and servant had different thoughts that night. Still, Sheng Xiao did not insist that Jingyun support Muchichi because he did not like taking sides like that. If it was not loyalty from the heart, it would be useless no matter how much you force it. In fact, Jingyun himself knew that Sheng Xiao was paying less and less attention to him, because his attitude towards Muchichi had always been negative. The next morning, Muchichi did not find her diary when she was packing her bag. She broke out in cold sweat because of that. It was her most secret, and it would be troublesome for anyone who saw it. Could she have left it in Xiao Xiao's car when she went out last night? Or maybe she forgot to put it back in her bag. Still, she was not in a hurry to ask Xiao Xiao. Because of that, Muchichi was not in the mood for breakfast. She simply grabbed her phone and left the house, heading straight to school. Qian Qian saw her frantically rummaging through the desk once she reached the classroom and quickly asked, "What's wrong? Did you lose something?" "My diary," Muchichi said. "Then look for it carefully." Qian Qian quickly helped her, pulling out everything from the drawer. "Thank goodness." Muchichi breathed a huge sigh of relief when she found the brown diary safely in the drawer. "It's good that you found it." It was fortunate that no one saw it, including Xiao Xiao. Otherwise, she really did not know how she would face him. At that thought, Muchichi still felt that she should not keep a diary in the future. If someone really saw it, wouldn't everyone know her secret? Since class had not started, Muchichi tore the diary into pieces and threw them into the trash can. She had thought that Mu Tangxue would not come to class today, since she had embarrassed herself so much during the birthday banquet. But before class, Mu Tangxue arrived, looking pitiful and wrapping herself up tightly. "Look at that little bitch of yours. She thinks she won't be laughed at just by wrapping herself up like that? She really knows how to cover herself up." Muchichi stopped Chen Chen so that she would not speak loudly. "There's no need to provoke her for me. Just stand aside and watch the show." Chen Chen nodded, not noticing Mu Tangshue's expression. Because Mu Tangxue was sick, she had been lying in class all day looking sickly and did not even go to PE class. Muchichi was not interested in bullying Mu Tangxue. Still, Muchichi had the feeling that Mu Tangxue would not let go of the birthday banquet so easily. But what was she planning? On that day, Mama Mu personally went to school to fetch Mu Tangxue home. Muchichi saw her mother from afar, but acted as if she did not know her and simply walked past her. Now, the matter between Muchichi and the Mu family would not draw too much attention from the other students. It was enough to gossip for a while. Of course, everyone would occasionally joke about the birthday banquet, since Chen Chen and the other students had taken pictures of Mu Tangshue's ugly face. But that had nothing to do with Muchichi. When she got home, Muchichi only thought about whether Xiao Xiao would bring her out to meet him. After all, Xiao Xiao had come to her for 2 days in a row. Still, one of those days was her birthday and the other was Christmas. Usually, Xing Xiao was busy and occupied most of the time. Late at night, Muchichi did not see any messages from Xing Xiao, and so sent him one. "Are you asleep?" Soon Xing Xiao replied, "Yes. I'm abroad." Muchichi was disappointed, but at least Xing Xiao had explained to her that he was so busy in the first place. Why would he be around her? "Well, you should rest early too." With that, Muchichi leaped onto her big bed, wearing the Christmas gloves Xing Xiao had given her, and fell asleep in no time at all. Chapter 37. The night in Singapore was particularly restless. Sheng Xiao was there to deal with the counterfeits of Huang Yao diamonds that had appeared in the market. At the moment he was negotiating with the people here. Knowing that Sheng Xiao was there to cause trouble, the other party gave him whatever he wanted. As a matter of fact, the best celebrities were sent to Sheng Xiao's side. The other party could not help smiling when he saw Sheng Xiao taking out his phone while he was negotiating. Who is so important that young Master Sheng cares so much about them? Sheng Xiao gently lifted her chin and smiled wickedly. Of course it's someone you can't compare to. Why aren't you moving aside since you know? Young Master Sheng, get lost. Sheng Xiao rejected the beauty with a single word. After that, he even had to wipe his fingers with a hot towel from the hotel, as if the woman had a virus on her chin. The other party knew that Sheng Xiao was not someone to be trifled with. At the very least, he was famous in the circle for being unmoved by force or persuasion. Since Mr. Sheng is in a hurry to hug the beauty, let's cut to the chase. I wonder, is this enough for young Master Sheng to turn a blind eye? With those words, the other party took out 2 large boxes filled with cash. Sheng Xiao smiled when he opened them. Didn't you do your homework before coming into contact with me? I like everything except for money. The other party's face darkened at Sheng Xiao's words as he puffed on his cigar. Mr. Sheng, do you have any room to negotiate with me? Sheng Xiao asked curiously before rising to his feet. What a waste of my time. Jing Yun, contact the quality control department and send them the photos you took just now. The other party's face turned ashen when he realized that he had been photographed. Meanwhile, Sheng Xiao told Jing Yun directly, I'm going back home now. But young master, it's already midnight. I like it. He had not seen his little one for a whole day. How could he wait until tomorrow? But Jing Yun finally told Sheng Xiao after contacting him for a while. Young master, it's stormy weather. There's nothing we can do. Only then did Sheng Xiao give up and did not force it. The next morning, Mu Qiqi went to school. After all, she was about to take her college entrance exams and wanted to do well so that she would not disappoint Xiao Xiao and her aunt. However, when she walked into the school, she realized that everyone in the school was pointing at her and gossiping about her. Qiqi, you're finally here. Qian Qian ran to the door, panting. Go and look at the notice board. Mu Qiqi sped towards the notice board, only to find a large group of people gathered in front of her. On the notice board was the diary she had torn yesterday, pieced together with transparent glue. There were about a dozen of them and nothing big could be seen in them. However, there was a picture of him. It was obvious that there was a him. Mu Qiqi squeezed to the front and tore down all the diaries. Her most private things were plastered on the bulletin board for the entire school to admire. Mu Qiqi's experience is really rich. She likes a man so openly. Is this love? Looks like you have a crush on her. Qiqi. Qian Qian quickly grabbed Mu Qiqi's hand, only to find that it was cold. Are you all right? Mu Qiqi shook her head and crumpled the diary into a ball. She walked straight to the classroom, and when she saw Mu Tangxue chatting happily with her classmates, she threw the ball of paper at her head. You must have been very busy with yesterday's PE class and last night, right? Sis. Mu Tangshue's tears immediately flowed. It's not me, really? You're the one who fell in love. What does it have to do with Tangxue? Why do you bully your sister for everything? The girl sitting behind Mu Tangxue finally could not help but speak up for her. What does it have to do with you? Mu Qiqi retorted. You don't think you can do whatever you want just because you have good grades. The whole school is laughing at you. Why do you still have the courage to stand here when it's so embarrassing? Mu Qiqi laughed at that and pointed at herself. I'm 18. I'm an adult. Do I need your permission to like someone? Qiqi, don't be angry. Qian Qian quickly held her back. She was afraid that she would beat her up. I'll find her even if I have to dig 3 feet into the ground for such an invasion of privacy. Mu Qiqi, come to the office. The teacher's voice was heard from outside the classroom. The whole class watched as Mu Qiqi was invited into the teacher's office. Qiqi, I know about the diary. Teacher, I didn't delay my studies because I like someone. Mu Qiqi explained to the teacher. Moreover, it's my privacy, but something like this happened between classmates. The teacher adjusted her glasses and nodded. I know you've always worked hard to improve, but this matter has a huge impact. Teacher, I can do anything you want me to, but can you please not tell my parents? Well, you know that I'm abandoned. My aunt is my only family now, and I don't want to see her disappointed. Mu Qiqi understood his feelings and moved him with reason. It was because anyone in the family would feel awkward if they knew about this. Moreover, I didn't do anything wrong. Why should I call my parents? The teacher thought about it for a while and finally said, I want to make it a small matter for you. I can do nothing, but can you stand all those rumors? It was normal for people their age to like someone, and who would not have a crush in puberty. The teacher knew that very well. Moreover, the matter itself was a breach of someone's privacy, which was why Muchichi was right. Why should she call her parents? Chichi, promise me that you'll focus on your studies before you graduate? I promise. Good. Go back to the classroom. Muchichi bowed to the teacher in thanks and turned to return to the classroom. Still, she could hardly control the urge to hit Mu Tangxue now. Are you alright, Chichi? It's not a big deal. It's just a crush and it's normal for it to pop up in school from time to time. Qian Qian comforted Muchichi. Wouldn't it be over with just a few words from your parents? Who in my family can invite? Muchichi asked in return. That's true. However, if this matter was really done by your sister, then she must have put in a lot of effort. Muchichi turned to look at Mu Tangxue. Mu Tangxue was looking back at Muchichi. From what Mu Tangxue could tell, Muchichi's records were all about men. But as far as she knew, Muchichi had a chauffeur aside from her aunt, a small mansion. Who was she in contact with? The matter was getting more and more interesting. Chapter 38. In fact, Muchichi knew very well that her aunt would soon find out if Mu Tangxue knew about it. It was fine to be mistaken as puppy love, but she could not let others know that it was Xiao Xiao, because she did not dare to gamble. If others knew about it, what would her aunt and others think of their relationship, let alone whether Xing Xiao would hate her? She did not want to bring trouble to Xing Xiao. If that was the case, it was better to go home early and give her aunt a shot in the arm. That was why the first thing Muchichi did after class was to rush home. Su Zipei was surprised to see her hugging herself as soon as she got home. What happened? Aunt Zipei, actually, I have a crush on a boy in school. I wrote it down in my diary, but I didn't expect Mu Tangxue to put it on the school's bulletin board. Su Zipei was bewildered at that. Puppy love. Aunt Zipei. Yes, but I have a crush on him and we're in different classes. We didn't even touch. Su Zipei nodded. I trust you. You know what you're doing. But my secret is out there. Muchichi's eyes reddened. I really didn't expect that Mu Tangxue would go through a trash can just to humiliate me. I really can't believe that the obedient Mu Tangxue in the eyes of the Mu family is actually so vicious. Su Zipei hugged Muchichi and snorted coldly. I really want to take off her mask of hypocrisy. But it's not a big deal, Chichi. I'm afraid that you have puppy love because I don't want it to affect your studies. Since you can tell me yourself, it means that your attitude is right. Don't be afraid. I support you. Aunt Zipei, you don't blame me? What I hate more now is that I don't have the ability to protect you. I can't go to school and slap that sister of yours. I'm such a bitch. Muchichi hugged Su Zipei tightly. Aunt Zipei, I'm not afraid of anything as long as you believe me. That way it would not matter even if Mu Tangxue complained. After that, Muchichi went upstairs and returned to her room. Although she had managed to hide it from Zipei, how would Xing Xiao feel when he learned that she liked a boy in school? She was carefully preserving her feelings because she knew that her love for Xing Xiao was too dangerous. Otherwise, what else could she do? On the other hand, Mu Tangxue lived up to expectations and told Mama Mu about what happened to Muchichi in school, pretending to be a bystander. Mama Mu snorted at Mu Tangxue's words. She's no longer the Muchichi she used to be since she stepped out of the house. She's doing all sorts of bad things, learning how to seduce men at such a young age. Mommy, actually, when my sister was still at my auntie's house, I secretly went to look for her. I wanted to show some concern for her, but I heard from my auntie's neighbor that my sister had been sold by my uncle. I know. The French sponsor's lawyer told me about it, Mama Mu replied. But think about it, what kind of people does uncle know? If big sister is sold by him, can she still be innocent? Mama Mu did a double take at that. She had never thought about that before. But now Mu Tangxue had a sudden epiphany. It's fine if we know about it, but I'm afraid that someone would expose it in the future. That's why your sister must not return to the Mu family. Mama Mu said cruelly. It would be troublesome if your father finds out about such a dirty past. As if chanting a spell, Mu Tangxue kept creating estrangement between Muchichi and her parents in front of her. The more her parents hated Muchichi, the happier she was. She would like to see what Muchichi could do now. After all, she still had Muchichi's torn diary pages. Should she post another 30 pages tomorrow? It was late at night when Xing Xiao returned to Jianchuan. Jing Yun wanted to send him home to rest, but Xing Xiao had him give him the car keys instead. As if knowing what he wanted to do, Jing Yun was powerless to stop him, and could only watch as he left. When they reached the small mansion, Xing Xiao sent Mu Qiqi a message. "Come out." Mu Qiqi suddenly didn't know how to explain the diary to Xing Xiao. She wanted to avoid it, but was afraid that Xing Xiao would misunderstand. That was why, after some hesitation, Mu Qiqi put on a thick coat and went to their usual meeting spot when Su Zipei wasn't looking. Xing Xiao started the car, but did not go far before he wound up the window in a nearby forest. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi kept her head lowered, not daring to look at him. What happened? Xing Xiao immediately knew that something must have happened from Mu Qiqi's expression. Xiao, Mu Tongxue had posted my diary on the school bulletin board. Mu Qiqi told Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao promptly turned to look at Mu Qiqi at that. After all, even if he didn't know how much Mu Qiqi wrote about him, he could guess that it was quite a lot. Actually, I'm in puppy love. I like a boy in the class next door. Mu Qiqi carefully observed Xing Xiao's eyes, but her words were very tentative. Is that so? Xing Xiao's tone was rather flat, because he knew that Mu Qiqi had to divert everyone's attention if she wanted to hide who he was. Moreover, the little one was smart enough to use he, or she instead of he, when she wrote her diary. He didn't seem to be angry. He didn't seem to be interested in her affairs. Xiao, actually Mu Qiqi wanted to say it but couldn't. After all, she didn't want them to end up as strangers. Why would Mu Tongxue see it? Xing Xiao wasn't exactly a soft-hearted person. He didn't bring the diary home in the middle of the night to hurt Mu Qiqi. I tore it and kept it in my drawer. I threw it in the trash can outside during class, but I didn't expect her to find the pieces. Mu Qiqi explained. So, you let her bully you? If my heart was as dark as hers, I would become her. Mu Qiqi replied. You should be fiercer than her. I admit that I don't have experience against such people, but I'll learn. Mu Qiqi promised him. Chapter 39. In fact, she had been hoping that Xing Xiao would react when he heard about it. But he didn't care if she liked someone else. Xiao, thank you for coming to see me tonight. You should go back and rest. With that, Mu Qiqi turned and tried to get out of the car, only to be held back by Xing Xiao. Did I say you can go now? Is there anything else? Mu Qiqi asked in return. Do you remember that you promised me that you wouldn't have puppy love in school? Xing Xiao suddenly began to dig up old scores. Does that count as breaking your promise now? Xiao. People who lie to me usually don't end up well. With that, Xing Xiao accelerated the car and left the small mansion with Mu Qiqi. Thinking that Xing Xiao was angry, Mu Qiqi quickly explained, Xiao, I really didn't do it on purpose. Don't be mad. Ignoring her, Xing Xiao drove at full speed and soon reached the gates of Eden. Then he parked the car at a corner nearby, where he could clearly see the gates of Eden. Xing Xiao did not say anything. He simply hooked his arm around Mu Qiqi's chin and said to her, You might have to sleep with me here tonight. Mu Qiqi blushed, but she didn't understand what he meant. Moreover, is the person you like really someone from the university? Xing Xiao asked teasingly. I thought you liked someone else all along. Mu Qiqi stared at Xing Xiao, not daring to move a muscle. Xing Xiao had used all his strength. Mu Qiqi felt wronged, but she didn't dare to say who she liked out loud, because it would put Xing Xiao in a difficult position. Xing Xiao saw the tears in Mu Qiqi's eyes, and suddenly approached her cheek and kissed the tip of her nose. Why are you crying, little one? Though the kiss was as light as a goose feather, Mu Qiqi's heart was suddenly brimming with strength. Blushing, she mustered her courage and asked, Xiao, do you know that I... Stop talking and come closer. Xing Xiao did not let her ask further. He just held her hands and put them in his pocket. Mu Qiqi looked at Xing Xiao up close, fascinated by his uncanny workmanship. It's hard for me not to notice the way you look at me, the way you want to eat me up. Mu Qiqi suddenly smiled but sighed in the next second. Do you know how worried I was that you would misunderstand? Do you think my IQ is as stupid as yours? Mu Qiqi's heart was suddenly at ease. It turned out that Xiao knew everything. Moreover, Xing Xiao did not reject her and was willing to be so close to her. Was she dreaming? Don't think too much nonsense in your head, and don't make any unfounded assumptions. If there's anything, no matter how big or small, tell me immediately, got it? Mu Qiqi's hands and heart warmed up. She nodded repeatedly. Still, are we here to ambush Mu Tongxue? Sheng Xiao was a little tired and his voice was hoarse. Putting down his seat, he leaned backwards. There are no surveillance cameras in Eaton's classrooms because the parents asked for their children's privacy. Otherwise, do you think Mu Tangxue would be that stupid? If she could put something on the notice board without anyone knowing, that means she must be the first to come to school. Also, do you think she will let it go after humiliating you this time? If you want to catch her in the act. In fact, the most important thing was to find an excuse to stay with the little one. Although they did not make things clear just now, Mu Qiqi knew that Xing Xiao was aware that she had feelings for him, and that he did not reject her. Xing Xiao did not want to hurt the little one, but he did not want to expose their relationship right now. She was still young. Xiao Xiao, you can sleep if you're tired. I'll watch. It's your business in the first place. Of course you'll watch. With that, Xing Xiao closed his eyes, though there was a faint smile on his lips. Mu Qiqi watched Xing Xiao's sleeping face in satisfaction. She was willing to do anything with the person she liked by her side, which was why she kept staring at the school gates. Eaton's gates opened at 5:50. 3 minutes later, Mu Qiqi saw Mu Tangshue's figure darting into the campus. Stay in the car. Xing Xiao quickly told Mu Qiqi. Let Jing Yun go. Where's Assistant Jing? Mu Qiqi did a double take. Why didn't she see him? He's been on standby for half an hour. With those words, Xing Xiao honked and Mu Qiqi saw a figure follow him. Why don't you go home and rest since Assistant Jing is already here? Mind your own business, eh? Xing Xiao did not know what it felt like to see his own sister set him up, but surely it would not feel good. This time Mu Tangxue was even worse. There was no telling if she should be praised for her skills or her patience. It was not easy for her to put the broken pieces back together. Of course, Mu Tangxue learned about Mu Qiqi's hatred for the Mu family after reading the diary. Still, she kept that part for her parents to enjoy, and pretended to be innocent by saying that she tore it from the school bulletin board. As for the him that Mu Qiqi mentioned, he was definitely not simple. He helped her and had been bringing her out for the last few days. Mu Qiqi's diary did not contain detailed content, since it was too hard to organize. Even so, it was not hard to tell that the man had given her a pen, a phone, hair accessories and snatched a dress for her. Could it be that Mu Qiqi was a sugar daddy? Mu Tangxue became even more curious about the man's identity at the very thought. Of course, she did not notice that Jing Yun was recording everything with his phone not far from her when she was publicizing these things. Jing Yun's recording would end when Mu Tangxue left. Then he returned to the car and handed the video to Xing Xiao. There's going to be a good show. Xing Xiao gestured at Jing Yun with a finger after he finished watching the video. It was only when Jing Yun came closer that he instructed him, all without letting Mu Qiqi hear it. Mu Qiqi did not deliberately ask. After all, she was not afraid of anything as long as Xing Xiao was beside her. But after giving Jing Yun his instructions, Xing Xiao hooked his arm around Mu Qiqi's neck and told her, learn a little about the show later, and pay that bitch back 100 times. Chapter 40. Then he sent Mu Qiqi back to the little mansion. While Su Zipei was making breakfast in the kitchen, Mu Qiqi quickly returned to her room, changed into her uniform and went downstairs, pretending that she did not leave the house last night. Su Zipei did not suspect anything and beamed at Mu Qiqi, telling her to hurry up and eat because she would be late for school. Mu Qiqi was not aware of Xiao Xiao's plan, and was very nervous and expectant at the same time. She wanted to see how Mu Tangxue would end up. Soon Mu Qiqi arrived at school, which was bustling as usual. Qian Qian was still waiting for Mu Qiqi at the school gates, but unlike yesterday's anxiousness, her expression was clearly excited. Qiqi, you're finally here. What happened this time? Mu Qiqi asked, even though she already knew the answer. Come look at this. Qian Qian pulled Mu Qiqi to the notice board and showed it to her. I don't know which kind-hearted person took a picture of this scheming bitch pasting your diary. It's now on the notice board, the school forum and even Van Gogh's forum. TSK. It's high definition and completely uncensored. Qian Qian looked delighted. And look. Qian Qian pulled Mu Qiqi to the other side of the notice board and pointed at a large poster. That kind-hearted person left this behind. Mu Qiqi was delighted when she looked at it, because the content was very interesting. This is Mu Tangxue. She posted her sister's diary and pretended to be a white lotus. Please don't hesitate to call her White Lotus Mu. Isn't she a white lotus? She would even frame her own sister. It's disgusting to expose someone else's privacy. We'll call her White Lotus Mu from now on. The surrounding students all expressed their opinions. It seemed that Mu Tangxue was going to suffer in school for a while. In the end, Qian Qian even told Mu Qiqi craftily, "I'm telling you that White Lotus hasn't arrived at school yet. She arrived at school so early and left after doing something bad. In order not to arouse suspicion, she had to be the last to arrive at school. That way no one would suspect her of posting her diary on the notice board." It was a pity that Mu Tangshua's little thought had smashed her own foot with a rock. Mu Qiqi remained calm and returned to the classroom with Qian Qian. It was only when it was almost time for the morning class that Mu Tangxue arrived. "Sorry I'm late." Mu Tangxue stood at the door of the classroom, panting. Her body was so weak that she looked like she would faint at any moment. The teacher didn't want to see anyone from the Mujia, so she said to her directly, "Come in." "But Tangxue, come to the office after the morning class." "I understand, teacher." Mu Tangxue looked at Mu Qiqi. The diary posted on the bulletin board today should have been even more explosive. Why was Mu Qiqi not bothering her? Moreover, why were the gazes of the others looking at her a little different? Mu Tangxue couldn't care less about that, and focused on her morning class. Still, when the bell rang, the classmate who had helped Mu Tangxue yesterday stood up and told her, "You're quite a bitch, actually." Mu Tangxue was stunned. No one had dared to scold her like that, but she still pretended to be weak. "Did I unintentionally upset you? I even spoke up for you yesterday. I thought that Mu Qiqi was always so arrogant that it was normal for her to be taught a lesson. I thought that you were framed, but I didn't expect that you really were the one who posted Mu Qiqi's diary." "What are you talking about? I don't understand." Mu Tangxue quickly denied it. "Has this guy not seen the wonderful pictures on the bulletin board yet?" Some students immediately teased. Of course. Why else would she deny it so shamelessly? "What are you all talking about? I have nothing to do with my sister, I swear. Stop looking at us with those White Lotus eyes of yours. I'm scared." "White Lotus Mu, that's what the entire school calls you now. You're really something, going out of your way to frame your own sister. I'm going to tell the teacher if you keep talking nonsense." Mu Tangxue was panicking inside, but she kept her composure. Seeing that she was still putting on an act, her classmates promptly pasted the picture on the bulletin board on the blackboard. "White Lotus Mu, did you see it?" Mu Tangshue's face paled at once. Where did this come from? Mu Tangxue quickly went up to snatch it, only to be told that there were plenty of them on the bulletin board. "There's even a high-definition and censored video. Do you want to see it?" Mu Tangxue took 2 steps back, her face pale. Then she walked up to Mu Qiqi and said, "Sis, you don't have to pretend to be me even if you want to take revenge on me, do you?" Mu Qiqi said nothing, but Chen Chen did. "Please take a good look. The difference between you and Mu Qiqi is that you don't have a mole on your nose, but Mu Qiqi does. And it's obvious in the video. I have to say the other party's phone is really not bad. Mu Qiqi had already taught us how to differentiate you two sisters, and yet you're still pretending." Mu Tangxue had nothing to say. She did not expect that Mu Qiqi had made such preparations beforehand. "White Lotus Mu, if I were you, I would crawl into a hole in the ground. Furthermore, it's not just the notice board. Even our school's forum, as well as Van Gogh's school's website, have been shocked by your astonishing actions." Mu Tangshue's hands were shaking. She quickly took out her phone but could not hold it steady. "That's what you get for playing tricks on me. Listen up, class. Keep an eye out for this vicious student. White Lotus Mu." Mu Tangshue's hands clenched into fists at the mention of White Lotus Mu. But there was nothing she could do, because none of them expected such a turn of events. Now the entire class hated her, just as Mu Qiqi had been hated by everyone before. "White Lotus Mu. White Lotus Mu." The more the students shouted, the louder they became. The teacher followed them to the classroom and told everyone, "Stop it. And Mu Tangxue, come to my office. I don't want to say it a second time." Mu Tangshue's eyes flashed, and she fled the classroom as fast as she could to the teacher's office. Ah, that White Lotus is finally exposed. How delightful. After all, Qian Qian treated Mu Qiqi as a good friend, and she would certainly protest when her friend was bullied. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi's expression was complicated as she watched Mu Tangxue leave. She had a feeling that the teacher would call her into the teacher's office. Of course, it was all prepared by Xiao Xiao, and she had yet to go on stage. Chapter 41. Mu Tangxue started sobbing when she reached the office. She looked so lovely that anyone who saw it would feel sorry for her. Still, the teacher did not dare to play along. "Don't cry in front of me, Tangxue. Tell me what's with the photos outside." "Teacher, I'm being framed." My sister pretended to be me and deliberately posted the photos to make everyone misunderstand. She was really good at sophistry. Teacher, you know that I've always respected my sister. This really has nothing to do with me, I'm being framed. Mu Tongxue even coughed a few times as she explained, as if afraid that others would not know how delicate she was. The teacher smiled faintly and said, Tongxue, actually, I overheard your conversation with your mother when you fainted in the hospital. Mu Tongxue did a double take. She did not realize that the teacher had overheard that, and soon remembered lying on the sickbed and complaining to Mama Mu that Mu Qiqi had hit her head. Mu Tongxue blushed at once. She could not say a word and could only lower her head. I don't know why you would treat your sister like that, but we must get a parent. Mu Tongxue quickly grabbed her teacher's arm and begged, Teacher, I beg you don't tell my parents. I'll ask my sister to forgive me, I'll ask her not to tell my parents. Please don't tell my parents. With your character, it's not just a simple prank. No, we must inform the parents of this matter, the teacher said firmly. Teacher, you're going to hurt my sister if you do that. You might not know that my sister is a murderer, right? In her panic, Mu Tongxue suddenly revealed the matter to her teacher. Still, her teacher was not surprised when he heard it. After all, she had heard about it from Mu Qiqi. Still, she did not expect that Mu Tongxue would be so vicious at such a young age. She had underestimated the intelligence and ability of children nowadays. After a pause, the teacher called her to her office just as Mu Qiqi expected. Mu Qiqi followed her into the office. She knew that Mu Tongxue was having a hard time when she saw her pale face. So, she asked her teacher, Teacher, why are you looking for me? I really didn't post your diary. You just wanted me to take the blame for you, so you pretended to be me and posted the diary, right? Was Mu Tongshue's words even a question? He didn't even beg for mercy. Instead, he was still as domineering as ever. How annoying. No, it's you, Mu Qiqi said. Sister, aren't you afraid that you call me a murderer? Mu Qiqi looked at Mu Tongxue teasingly, before turning to look at her as coldly as she could. Why don't you go out and tell them? Do you think they trust me more or you? Mom and Dad said you, but you don't have proof and neither do they. It's reasonable for me to say that you're framing me. Moreover. With that, Mu Qiqi approached Mu Tongxue, glaring at her fiercely. If you spread the news that the daughter of the Mu family killed her own grandmother, do you think Dad would let you off when the Mu family's stock price plummets? Don't be the second person to be chased out of the Mu family. Mu Tongxue, do you think I'm still the same cowardly Mu Qiqi? Whatever humiliation I suffered in the past, you will return it 100-fold today. You just want to threaten me, but you can't stop it. Right now, the entire school has a pair of eyes that hate you. Mu Tongxue kept retreating but was forced into a corner by Mu Qiqi. Even so, she really didn't expect that Mu Qiqi could really become so fierce. Don't cross the line, Qiqi. The teacher reminded her lovingly. As for Tongxue, I want to see your parents this afternoon. Seeing that Mu Qiqi wasn't threatened, Mu Tongxue could only give in. She would never let the Mu family know what she did in school. That was why she dropped to her knees in front of Mu Qiqi and the teacher. I'm begging you, begging? Mu Qiqi said the word in amusement, ignoring Mu Tongxue. You just want to maintain your image as a kind little angel in your family. Why should I do as you wish? Mu Tongxue, I'm looking forward to you being chased out of the family. With those words, Mu Qiqi left the office, and the teacher quickly helped Mu Tongxue up. She wouldn't be able to bear the consequences if the girl fainted again. Tongxue, it's not that I have to do this, but the repercussions are too great. That's why I'll ask your parents to come in the afternoon. As for you, apologize to Mu Qiqi in front of the whole school. Perhaps everyone would forgive you that way, since it's a great thing to learn from your mistakes. Mu Tongshue's face darkened. It seemed that she couldn't avoid asking her parents to come. Still, what could she do to convince Mama Mu that Mu Qiqi had set her up? Alright, there's nothing else. Go back to class and let me know if you need my protection. Mu Tongxue returned to class distractedly. Even so, who would dare to approach her now? She was a person who would set her own sister up, let alone her classmates who weren't even related by blood. During class, Mu Qiqi turned to look at Mu Tongxue, her eyes meaningful. After all, how had she survived back then? And now, Mu Tongxue was enjoying it. Feng Shui had finally turned around. Qiqi, what were you two talking about in the office just now? Chen Chen asked Mu Qiqi curiously. Look at your sister. It's as if you and the teacher bullied her. Would she jump off the building later? I'm telling you, I have to warn her. My family invested in this building, so don't dirty my turf. Mu Qiqi couldn't help chuckling at Chen Chen's words. You're so talkative. She was begging me on her knees just now, but I didn't agree. You'd have to be out of your mind to agree to someone like that. Chen Chen rolled her eyes. It's lucky that everyone is graduating, or she'd be in trouble at Eton. Mu Qiqi looked at Mu Tongxue again and said nothing. After all, she was now curious what Mu Tongxue would do to keep her kind nature and stop Mama Mu from coming to school. That would be interesting. Moreover, didn't Mu Qiqi think that she was deceiving herself? Now that her mask of hypocrisy was about to fall off, why couldn't she show her true colors? Mu Qiqi sneered. Still, that was none of her business, and she was more willing to spend her time with Xing Xiao. Chapter 42. Mama Mu arrived at Eton on time that afternoon. She was not aware of the commotion Mu Tongxue had caused, and was still under the impression that her classmates adored her daughter. When Mu Tongxue saw that she could not stop Mama Mu, she went to the top floor of Eton during break and even climbed over the fence. Some of her classmates saw her dangerous move and quickly reported it to the teacher. In no time at all, the news of someone jumping off a building spread throughout the school. Mu Tongxue appeared to be in despair. She simply stood on the top floor as if she was the one being bullied, and did such a thing when she could no longer hold back. Mama Mu was already on her way to Eton when she heard from the teacher that Mu Tongxue wanted to kill herself. Mama Mu promptly sped up and rushed to Eton, her heart burning with anxiety. By then, the school had already called the police, and the police were there to comfort and provide aid. Heavens, my dear Schwer. Unable to hold back any longer, Mama Mu went to the top floor after getting permission from the police. Daughter, what are you doing? She quickly asked. Come here, mommy's here. Come to mommy. 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 Mu Tongshua's body softened at once when she saw Mama Mu. That was when the police picked her up and put her on the floor, and Mama Mu quickly hugged her. Silly girl, what are you doing? How could you scare mommy like that? Many people were watching from below, but Mu Tongxue was soon sent to the hospital. Mu Qiqi was one of the spectators and couldn't help smiling at the sight. With that, Mama Mu no longer had the mood to care about Mu Tongshue's actions in school. All she wanted to know was who had forced her daughter to the extent that she wanted to jump off a building. Chen Qian tugged at Mu Qiqi's arm and made a shivering gesture. Your sister is a god. With her acting skills, she would definitely win national awards if she were to become an actress. Do you think that's all she's capable of? Mu Qiqi sneered. She knows a lot more. Still, that was none of her business. It was fine as long as the whole school knew how embarrassing Mu Tongxue was. By the way, who is the boy you have a crush on? Chen Qian suddenly turned her gaze to Mu Qiqi's exposed diary. I've never seen you following any boy. I can't tell you about this, Mu Qiqi said mysteriously and went back to the classroom with Chen Qian. Be that as it may, the classroom was gloomy in the afternoon. Perhaps everyone thought that Mu Tongxue had turned the entire class into a mess after her arrival, and was now famous throughout the school. Qiqi, tell us, who is it that you like? Have you ever confessed? Hearing Chen Qian's question, Mu Qiqi shook her head. I can't say it. How can we do that? Now it's the girls who take the initiative. Think about it, an outstanding man is also worth fighting for, okay? Did you kiss? Mu Qiqi shook her head and asked, how do you know so much? Because I've already given away my first kiss. Feels really good. It's soft like eating jelly. Mu Qiqi suddenly thought of Xing Zhao's handsome face and his alluring lips. If only she could kiss him. You're blushing. You're blushing. Chen Chen exposed Mu Qiqi. You must be thinking about those unhealthy things in your head. Mu Qiqi did not answer because her lecturer had come in. Still, she was not in a good mood because of what happened to Mu Tongxue. She simply gave everyone a task. It was time for them to set a goal for themselves. Mu Qiqi remembered the Xing family's diamond business, and she wanted to help Xing Xiao in the future. That was why she wanted to get into a design school. Would Xiao Xiao like it? Mu Qiqi remembered his lips when she thought of Xing Xiao, as well as what Chen Chen said about the taste of kissing. What would it be like? After Mu Tongxue was sent to the hospital, she had a full-body checkup. The doctor assured Mama Mu that Mu Tongxue was just overwhelmed with grief and would wake up soon. Mama Mu could not think of anyone else who could force Mu Tongxue to stand on the top floor of a school where Mu Qiqi was. It must have been Mu Qiqi's doing. That was why she was shaking with rage. She really did not expect that Mu Qiqi could be so vicious even though they were both her children. Before Mu Tongxue could wake up, Mama Mu went straight to Eton and found their lecturer, scolding her right in her face. How long has it been? My daughter has been hospitalized several times. Don't you have any responsibility as a teacher? The lecturer felt a headache at the sight of Mama Mu. It was one thing for Mu Tangxue to be a drama queen, but she was being led around by the nose by her own daughter. Could you calm down, Mama? How could I calm down? It's not your daughter standing on top. You don't feel bad, do you? Mama Mu retorted, pointing a finger at the lecturer's nose. Is this how Eton, the best school, treats its students? Dear parent, if you spoil your child too much, you will only end up harming him. If you think that I have treated your child inappropriately, you can go to the school board and complain about me. But right now, I don't want to talk to you. What about Mu Chichi? What about Mu Chichi? Mama Mu asked. Mu Chichi's home. She's out of school. Mama Mu would not let it go and promptly called Su Zipei. Bring Mu Chichi out. I want to see her and ask her a few things. Su Zipei glanced at her phone and replied seriously, You've got the wrong number. Then she blocked Mama Mu's number. It was only when Mu Chichi reached home that Su Zipei asked her, Did you get into trouble again today? The Mu family's phone calls are all coming to me. Mu Chichi told Su Zipei about what happened in school today, but Su Zipei shook her head after hearing it. I always thought that Mu Tangxue was just a smart aleck, but now I think that she's really heartless. It's fortunate that our Mu Chichi has a kind person to protect her. Mu Chichi said nothing and went to her room after dinner. She would study how to make cufflinks, draw the blueprints, and ask a craftsman for help on the weekend. Mu Chichi was so focused on her design that she did not even see Xing Zhao's message. When she saw the sentence, it was already an hour later. Startled, Mu Chichi quickly jumped out of her chair, put on her clothes and went downstairs. However, she did not see Xing Zhao's car when she arrived at their usual meeting place. Had Xiao Xiao left? At that thought, Mu Chichi quickly called Xing Xiao to explain, but her phone was taken away from her just as the call went through. Mu Chichi turned to find Xing Xiao standing behind her. Xiao Xiao, why did you take so long to come out? Xing Xiao took her hand and led her into the woods. I was doing my homework, Mu Chichi quickly said. Chapter 43. Of course it's more important to see you. I just didn't see you. Mu Chichi said honestly. Xing Xiao sneered and led her to a warm car. Mu Chichi was sitting among them. She tilted her head to look at Xing Zhao's handsome face. At that moment, her heart was beating wildly. She recalled Qian Qian's words. She wanted to try kissing Xing Xiao too. But she did not dare to. Did you learn anything today? Xing Xiao already knew about Mu Tangshue's performance on the top floor of the school, and that she was now being spurned by the entire school. Yes. How would I dare not remember what you taught me? Mu Chichi answered obediently. Good girl. Where are we going tonight? Mu Chichi couldn't help asking as she watched Xing Xiao drive. Looks like we're going far. Jianchuan was a place where they could move around if they wanted to protect Mu Chichi so that no one would know. Xing Xiao had no particular place to go at the moment. He simply wanted to take Mu Chichi away from familiar faces and be alone with her, such as sleeping in the car last night. But halfway there, Mu Chichi received a call from Su Zipei. Chichi, it's so late. Where are you? There's no one in the room. Mu Chichi looked at Xing Xiao in panic, because Su Zipei rarely came to her after she went to bed. Mu Chichi paused and quickly answered, Aunt Zipei, I'm hungry from studying, so I came out to buy something to eat. Buy what? Don't we have some at home? I want to eat outside, all right? Come back quickly and don't stay out for too long. With that, Su Zipei hung up, while Mu Chichi looked a little disappointed. Xiao Xiao, I can't go out with you tonight. I have to hurry home or Aunt Zipei would find out. There's a supermarket nearby. Let's buy something. Xing Xiao parked the car in front of the supermarket and had Mu Chichi buy a bunch of snacks. However, on the way back, both of them had grave expressions on their faces. How long could such a relationship last? If others knew that she liked him, what would she do in the future? Xiao Xiao. I feel guilty. Xing Xiao did not say anything. As the crown prince of Huangyao, he had always gotten what he wanted and did whatever he wanted. He had never encountered such a situation where it was wishful thinking to bring his little one out to play, because he had to consider that Mu Chichi was still immature. Soon, the car drove into the little mansion, and Mu Chichi had Xing Xiao stop the car at the entrance so that Su Zipei would not catch them. Good night, Xiao Xiao. Xing Xiao stopped the car and grabbed Mu Chichi's arm. When she turned around, he pinched her chin and kissed her. No, to be more accurate, it was biting. Mu Chichi felt pain in her lips. She wanted to struggle, but Xing Xiao didn't let her. Still, he released her just 3 seconds later. Even so, she could feel that he was holding back his anger. Damn Qian Qian, who said that kissing was like eating jelly. Since you dragged me down to hell, don't run away alone. Muchichi's entire body shuddered at those words. She sensed danger as well as the emotions that were about to burst out of her chest. She probably didn't even know how much she liked Xingxiao. Muchichi got out of the car with the snacks and watched as Xingxiao left. When she got home, she couldn't help being nagged by Su Zipei. Tell me what you want to eat and I'll buy it for you. Don't go out alone, it's dangerous for a girl. I know, Aunt Zipei. Muchichi felt a deep sense of guilt. Her aunt had been so good to her, but she couldn't say a word about Xingxiao no matter what. She was afraid that her aunt would be disappointed in her. She could promise her aunt anything, but Xingxiao was her own secret. She would keep it in her heart, even if Xingxiao were to marry another rich young lady one day. Muchichi put down the snacks when she returned to her room and texted Xingxiao. Xiao, I want to learn design. Xingxiao returned home and washed up when he saw the message and promptly replied, Why? Because I want to be closer to you. Xingxiao was aware that Muchichi was better at math, physics, and chemistry. She could have studied science and engineering, but she was willing to learn design for him, not caring if she liked it or not. Oh, why? Muchichi asked in return. There are enough designers in Huangyao. You won't make a difference. Muchichi was hurt, but Xingxiao was telling the truth. Those who designed jewelry for Huangyao were all international masters. How many years would a small fry like her have to work her way up to the top? Even so, she really wanted to be closer to Xingxiao. Moreover, Muchichi touched her bitten lip when she remembered that kiss. Chanchan was such a liar. Late at night, Papa Mu rushed to the hospital when he learned that Mu Tangxue had almost jumped off a building at school. Mu Tangxue had just fallen asleep, and Mama Mu was watching over her. Papa Mu immediately attacked his wife when he saw his daughter. How are you taking care of Shuai? Why is she always in the hospital? Honey, Tangshue's because of Muchichi's revenge. Did you know? Shuai is being bullied at all and eaten. Mama Mu pushed the blame to Muchichi. She even went to another family, but she wouldn't let Tangxue go. We don't owe her anything. What can we do? Muchichi's guardianship isn't in our hands now. Papa Mu retorted angrily. Isn't it all because of you? You didn't teach the child well, and now she's going against us everywhere. What now? Are we just going to let her continue like this? I had Shuai go to Eton to keep an eye on Muchichi and stop her from stirring up trouble. I didn't expect her to get worse. Let me know when Shuai wakes up and I'll tell her what to do. With that, Papa Mu left his wife at the hospital while he returned home to wash up and rest. Papa Mu was an absolute chauvinist. In this family, everyone had to obey him. That was why Mama Mu and Mu Tangxue couldn't be blamed for being afraid of him. On the other hand, Muchichi hated him more than anything else. Still, just as Papa Mu was about to leave, Mu Tangxue opened her eyes and shouted, Daddy? Sis, someone's keeping her. What did you say? Papa Mu stared at Mu Tangxue in shock, asking her in disbelief. Chapter 44. Hubby, if it's true and someone else finds out about it, how would we face the Mu family in the future? Mama Mu quickly said. It's too embarrassing. Mama Mu's first reaction was not to worry about her daughter's safety, but the embarrassment. Papa Mu snorted coldly. So you know how embarrassing it is. There's no other way but to send Muchichi abroad. That way no one would know even if she dies there. But why would she listen to us? Mama Mu asked. Muchichi is now with someone else. She's so arrogant, does she even respect us as her parents? Go find her and tell her that we'll allow her to return to the Mu family. She'll be the young lady of the Mu family just like before, and I won't scold or beat her as long as she agrees to leave the country. Papa Mu ordered. Let her return to the Mu family. That's the most I can do for her. Don't push your luck. All right. I'll go find her when she recovers. Papa Mu's tone made it seem as if he was giving Muchichi a great gift. He was Mu Tangshue's father after all. In his heart, he probably believed that Muchichi wanted to return to the Mu family. After all, the French tycoon was only sponsoring her and not supporting her for life. It was only by returning to the Mu family that she could enjoy the treatment of a rich young lady and not have to worry about food or clothing for the rest of her life. That confidence made Muchichi stand last time a waste. That was why Papa Mu believed that it was the greatest concession he could make for Muchichi. She should not have been accepted into the Mu family after killing her grandmother. But to prevent Muchichi from making more headlines, Papa Mu finally made that difficult decision. Don't be afraid, dear. Muchichi might be back, but your father is sending her abroad. She won't bully you anymore. Mu Tongshua's eyes welled with tears. She hugged Mama Mu and sobbed softly. Mommy, you're the best. But they would never have thought that their arrogance was a laughable suggestion to Mu Chichi. She had said before that she would never return to the Mu family. She wasn't joking. That was why Mama Mu drove her car early next morning and waited outside the little mansion. When she saw old Lin and Mu Chichi's car, she quickly stopped them. After all, they had met a few times and she remembered old Lin's car very clearly. When old Lin saw Mama Mu, he quickly asked, Miss Chichi? Ignore him. Let's go. Mu Chichi didn't want to talk to Mama Mu at all. Moreover, she could guess that Mama Mu was looking for her because of Mu Tongshua's suicide yesterday. All right. Old Lin nodded and was about to speed up to avoid them when Mama Mu got out of the car and stood in front of the car, arms outstretched. Miss Chichi, forget it, Uncle Lin. Could you please ask my aunt to come over? Mu Chichi said. She was curious to know what Mama Mu was up to today anyway. Uncle Lin, it's fine. If it was just a battle of tongues, she wouldn't have the time to argue with her. However, before Su Zipei came out, Mu Chichi did not want to talk to Mama Mu at all. She sat in the car with the windows tightly shut. Soon, Su Zipei came out of the little mansion. She was furious when she saw her sister. Madam Mu, I've made my stance very clear. I hope that you won't show up at the little mansion again. I don't want to show up either. But ask yourself, Zipei. Have you taken good care of Mu Chichi? Do you know that she's a sugar daddy? Or are you using Chichi to earn this dirty money? Su Zipei replied angrily at Mama Mu's words. Watch your mouth. You don't know that Mu Chichi is a sugar daddy? Mu Chichi finally rolled down the window when she heard the two arguing outside the car. Did your precious daughter tell you that again? She said she saw your diary with her own eyes. A man always gives you presents and takes you out at night. Nonsense. Su Zipei quickly retorted. Mu Chichi goes to bed at 9 every night without exception. Isn't Mu Tongxue afraid of being struck by lightning for saying that? Forget it. I can't argue with you. I'm here today to tell you good news. Mama Mu cut Su Zipei short and told her that she was here to convey Papa Mu's decision. Your brother-in-law has decided to let Mu Chichi return to the Mu family and send her abroad to study. Good news? Su Zipei laughed. Who would that be good news for? Don't push your luck, Zipei. Mu Chichi would still be the young lady of the Mu family. She wouldn't have to worry about food or clothing for the rest of her life. Why wouldn't she be willing? Isn't she doing so much just to return to the Mu family? At that, Su Zipei and Mu Chichi shared a look and smiled. Where does the Mu family get their confidence from? Su Zipei asked Mama Mu in return. We've never expressed our desire to go back to the Mu family. You don't want to. Look at Mu Chichi. She's living in a mansion, eating delicacies from the mountains, using branded goods, followed by a car at all times, and the principal would personally welcome her when she enters a prestigious school. Isn't that better than the Mu family? Everything she eats and wears is better than Mu Tongshue's. Go back? Stop dreaming, alright? Mama Mu glanced at Mu Chichi and then at Su Zipei. Even Su Zipei was no longer the poor girl she used to be, and was now beautiful and noble. That was something she could not deny. Auntie Mu, you're probably worried about Mu Tongxue jumping off a building, aren't you? I know it hurts you, but do you know why she did it? It was because she posted my diary but someone else recorded it and put it on the bulletin board. Invading someone else's privacy is the most shameful thing, and that's why the entire school hates her. Ask yourself, who doesn't hate her now? He even gave her a name, White Lotus Mu. Of course, I'm guessing that you think I'm the one who framed her. Still, it doesn't matter if you're lying to yourself. It's fine as long as others know the truth. Auntie Mu, how kind your daughter is. You should go to school and ask her about it. I'm warning you, don't even think about me. I wouldn't even bother wasting my time on her if Mu Tongxue didn't provoke me on her own. Moreover, I'm not a sugar daddy. If you believe your daughter's nonsense without looking at the evidence, she'll make you suffer beyond words one day. Just wait and see if you don't believe me. With that, Mu Chichi closed the window. Uncle Lin, please speed up. I'm going to be late. Meanwhile, Su Zipei was too lazy to argue with Mama Mu. You can move your car if there's nothing else. We know how to move to the side and not get in other people's way. Are you worse than a child? Mama Mu was left stunned by Mu Chichi's words. Chapter 45. Still, Mu Chichi made it sound like it was real. Didn't she say that she could just ask in school? Since she was already out, she might as well go to Eton. Hence, Mama Mu drove to the gates of Eton, just as students were rushing to school from all directions. Mama Mu promptly grabbed a student who was walking and asked, "Do you know Mu Tangxue? White Lotus Mu. Who doesn't know her in school now? Isn't it disgusting to put her sister's diary on the bulletin board?" The other party was a bespectacled little Prince Charming, but he had a comprehensive grasp of the school's gossip. Mu Chichi didn't set her up? The video of White Lotus Mu posting her sister's diary was recorded. What else is there to say? Who are you? Stop asking so many questions. The little boy was very impatient. He pushed his glasses up the bridge of his nose and rolled his eyes at Mama Mu before leaving. Unsatisfied, Mama Mu grabbed another girl and asked, "May I ask you something? Do you know Mu Tangxue?" "Yes, White Lotus Mu. Everyone in school has the right to punish her. Didn't she try to kill herself yesterday? How embarrassing." Mama Mu was stunned when she heard that. After all, Mu Tangxue had always been an excellent student in the eyes of others, and it was the first time she heard someone say that Mu Tangxue was an embarrassment. Embarrassment, as it turned out, was not forced to jump off a building because Mu Chichi bullied her. Instead, it was because she was embarrassed that she posted Mu Chichi's diary on the bulletin board. But Mu Tangxue did not tell her that yesterday. And when she went to school and scolded the teacher, she did not even hear what happened. For some reason, Mama Mu suddenly felt complicated. That was why she called her husband. Papa Mu answered the call impatiently. "I'm at work now. Can you not bother me with these trivial things? Can't you handle something as simple as sending Mu Chichi abroad?" Mama Mu felt wronged, but she was used to it. Hence, she told her father everything that happened in the morning. Papa Mu was left stunned once more. After all, Mu Tangxue had always been obedient and sensible, and would never scheme like that. Even so, Mama Mu had gotten a video of Mu Tangxue posting her diary. Papa Mu was furious when he heard that. "What a disgrace. How dare you jump off a building? Hubby definitely didn't do it on purpose. You know she's been very sensible since she was young." "What about Mu Chichi? Is she willing to leave?" "I've talked to Zipei and Mu Chichi. Both of them are living comfortably in the small villa. They don't want to return to the Mu family at all." "Little bastard, you don't even recognize your own ancestors." With that, Papa Mu hung up and told his assistant, "Call Eaton right now and confirm if has caused a huge commotion in Eaton." The assistant nodded and immediately did as he was told. Soon he received an answer from the school. President Mu, Mississippi. Mu is now being spurned by the whole school because she posted her sister's diary. What a disgrace. This is simply too embarrassing. Furious, Papa Mu rushed to the hospital to visit Mu Tangxue after work. Mu Tangxue thought that Papa Mu would succeed in getting Mu Chichi to leave Jianchuan, but Papa Mu was glaring at her in particular. She had seen that look before, but it was usually directed at Mu Chichi. But now, Mu Tangxue was a little afraid. She had never seen her father looking at her like that. "Dad, isn't it enough for one of you to embarrass me in school? You had to join in the fun too, didn't you?" Papa Mu grabbed Mu Tangxue and dragged her out of bed. "If you can post your sister's diary, why can't you stop others from taking a picture?" Mu Tangshua's eyes widened at that. "Dad, are you happy now that the whole school is calling you a white lotus? The Mu family is completely humiliated now." Papa Mu bellowed. "I work hard every day, but the few of you are throwing away all my dignity." Mu Tangxue was shocked. She was truly terrified this time. Papa Mu had never been so angry at her before. Mu Chichi would be happy if she could see it, since what Mu Tangxue was enduring now was her past. "Don't cry." Mama Mu arrived at the hospital just then. She quickly comforted him when she saw Mu Tangxue being scolded. "Husband, it's my first time even if I did something wrong. Don't blame me too much." You have to redeem the school's reputation yourself. Don't expect me to be happy otherwise." With that, Papa Mu left the ward. It was the first time Mu Tangxue felt that it was good to be Mu Chichi's scapegoat. In the past, she would stand aside and watch as Mu Chichi was scolded. Now that Mu Chichi was gone, Papa Mu was venting his anger on her instead. She could not afford to make any mistakes. "Mommy?" Mama Mu sighed and hugged Mu Tangxue tightly. "I'm useless. I couldn't protect you." She was the one who complained to Papa Mu. After all, she could not bear the responsibility. If Papa Mu found out that she did not report the truth, he would definitely scold her again. It was also the first time Mu Tangxue felt that Papa Mu's attitude towards her had changed. After school, Mu Chichi told Xing Xiao about Mama Mu's visit to the little mansion in the morning. Xing Xiao only replied when he was free. The Mu family's schemes are getting bigger and bigger. "Xiao Xiao, Actually, I told Madame Mu naughtily that Mu Tangxue is being despised by everyone in school. With her personality, she would definitely tell that person at home, and Mu Tangxue would be in trouble then. After all, she had been treated that way before. Papa Mu had directly laid his hands on her then. The Mu family was a strange existence in itself. Papa Mu cared about his reputation, while Mama Mu cared about her own interests. Who would really care about a child? In the past, it was only because Mu Tangxue made them feel less worried and proud. But now Mu Tangxue made them feel embarrassed. How could Papa Mu hold back now? That's it? I can make you even worse. Sheng Xiao replied teasingly. Madame Mu told Aunt that I'm being taken care of by a man every day, and given a lot of gifts. Luckily Aunt Zipe didn't believe it. Mu Qiqi reminded Sheng Xiao helplessly. Kept? How are you qualified? Sheng Xiao retorted viciously. In fact, Sheng Xiao's meaning was clear. Mu Qiqi was not a canary he was keeping. He did not like it, and neither did he think it was necessary. Xiao Xiao, am I really that bad? Mu Qiqi could not help asking. Chapter 46. That was why Mu Qiqi did not dare to go out so openly at night, afraid that Su Zipe would find out. After all, Su Zipe trusted her so much. However, Mu Qiqi desperately wanted to see Sheng Xiao. For that, she made sure that Su Zipe was completely asleep before sneaking out. She waited until midnight. When Mu Qiqi went out, Sheng Xiao was already asleep in the car. Xiao Xiao. Mu Qiqi sat beside him and looked at his handsome face. Have you been waiting for a long time? I thought you became bold and dared not to come out. I would come out even if I have to crawl. But my mother told Aunt Zipe about me today. You know, I was afraid that she would get suspicious, so I waited until she fell asleep. Mu Qiqi explained. Then, you won't see me at night anymore? Sheng Xiao looked at Mu Qiqi meaningfully. You don't have to wait until midnight. I want to see you. Mu Qiqi quickly answered. I'm willing to wait until morning. Sheng Xiao could not help driving a little further after achieving his goal. However, he did not leave the villa because his little one had to go to school tomorrow. She would not be energetic if she did not rest enough. Have you thought about which school you want to go to? Sheng Xiao stopped the car and asked Mu Qiqi coolly. Or do you want to go abroad? I don't. Mu Qiqi quickly answered. I just want to stay in Jianchuan. Sheng Xiao could not help lifting Mu Qiqi's chin at that and asked her wickedly, do you want to stay in Jianchuan or by my side? Mu Qiqi's heart was intoxicated. She looked at Sheng Xiao and could not help asking, I just want to see you all the time? Sheng Xiao could not help chuckling when he got the answer. Little one, you're getting more and more explicit. With that, he reached out and rubbed Mu Qiqi's lips with his long fingers. Mu Qiqi's heart raced and thumped. She felt as if she was riding the clouds to be so close to the person she loved. Then Sheng Xiao's face inched closer, his lashes becoming clearer. Soon, her lower lip was caught between his lips. This time he did not bite but sucked. Mu Qiqi quickly closed her eyes, but Sheng Xiao had already left her lips. It's quite lousy. A kept woman is very proactive. That's right. You're right. Mu Qiqi blushed and quickly buried her head in his chest. This man was too good at flirting. She was just a little girl. She was no match for him at all. Xiao Xiao, I don't know which university I'm going to. Can you help me fill in my wish? When Sheng Xiao heard that, he quickly asked, what if I let you read it again? Are you going to do it? Mu Qiqi shook her head. I trust you. You always do what's best for me. Though Mu Qiqi's words sounded a little fake, Sheng Xiao enjoyed it. Although he did not immediately answer her, he kept her wish in mind. Either way, I don't want to be in the same school as Mu Tangxue. I have a feeling that she would pursue our relationship relentlessly. Sheng Xiao said nothing. He hugged Mu Qiqi and pressed her head against his chest for a few minutes before letting go. You're flying to Italy tomorrow morning. Don't let anyone bully you when I'm not around. I know. Mu Qiqi nodded and left Sheng Xiao's embrace. But just as she was about to get out of the car, Sheng Xiao grabbed her and quickly covered her lips. There was no helping it. The little one's lips were just that addictive. Mu Qiqi reached out to hug Sheng Xiao by reflex and responded clumsily and awkwardly. Afraid of leaving a mark, Sheng Xiao eventually stopped there and did not go too deep. After that, Mu Qiqi got out of the car and returned to the little mansion. Remembering Sheng Xiao's 2 kisses tonight, Mu Qiqi felt that she was about to faint from bliss. Of course, the more blissful she was, the more afraid she was. If the day came when everyone knew about their relationship, wouldn't she have to separate from Xiao Xiao when that time came? There was no helping it. Her natural melancholy left Muqiqi both blissful and fearful. Meanwhile, Xing Xiao should have been resting after returning to the Xing family, but instead he had Jing Yun search for the best faculty in every university in Jianchuan, because he did not want to disappoint his little one. Seeing that he was so serious, Jing Yun said, "Young master, you really seem to have fallen for it." Xing Xiao was sitting on the sofa, flipping through the university information. He knew Muqiqi's ability, which was why getting into his alma mater would not be a problem. Moreover, his alma mater's science faculty was one of the top in the country. No one would have imagined that the great crown prince of Huangyao, young master Sheng, whose very name would strike fear in the hearts of others and eighth brother of the Sheng family, would become a demon, was choosing the ideal university for a high school girl who was about to apply to. That was why Jing Yun felt that Xing Xiao was completely caught up in it. Xing Xiao did a series of analysis and picked out the faculty that Muqiqi was confident in. After putting down his pen, he looked at Jing Yun and said, "Yes, I'm falling for it. Do you have a problem with that?" "Young master, you know very well that's impossible. It would only hurt Miss Muqiqi. What are you afraid of if she's not afraid?" Xing Xiao couldn't help asking Jing Yun in return. "Jing Yun, a soul that succumbs to fate is boring. Young master, I'm just afraid that you would get hurt when the time comes. I've told you before. Hurt is hurt, kneel is kneel. I'm not afraid, so what are you afraid of?" "No matter what you say, I can't stop worrying about my little one now. I can't let go of her, and it's up to you whether you want to support her or keep stabbing her in the back. But I won't change my decision because of you." With that, Xing Xiao put away the university information and went to the bathroom to wash up. Jing Yun was upset. He could understand if it was anyone else, but why did it have to be Muqiqi? The Mu family and the Sheng family had always been incompatible. Although Xing Zhao's generation no longer cared about those grudges, the generation before him still cared. Still, if he did not stand by Xing Zhao's side and the matter was exposed, there would really be only two of them left. Although it was hard for him to accept it, he decided to try and accept Muqiqi's place in Xing Zhao's heart. Moreover, he would help young master keep it a secret from master and madam. In fact, Xing Xiao knew Jing Yun's personality well enough to know that he would never betray him. Even so, the little one could certainly fight back against petty schemes, but she was still so immature when it came to grand schemes. Chapter 47. Of course, it was a difficult night for Mu Tongxue. After all, she had never been scolded like that by Papa Mu. At that thought, Mu Tongxue could not hold back her cunning thoughts and asked Mama Mu tentatively, "Mommy? I'm sorry I couldn't tell you honestly about school. You must be upset, right?" "To tell the truth, dear, I was stunned when your sister told me. I couldn't believe it was you. My sister always bullied me at school. I had no other choice but to do this." Mu Tongshua's eyes reddened. "You know that I wouldn't do anything out of line. I just wanted to teach her a lesson so that she wouldn't bully me all the time. I didn't expect it to backfire. I feel bad for embarrassing the Mu family too. That's why I don't blame you, Daddy." Mu Tongxue was right. Mama Mu only knew about it because Muqiqi told on her behind her back. Otherwise, Mama Mu wouldn't have noticed that she had been caught posting the diary after she jumped off a building. "Dear, please give in to Muqiqi when we get back to school. She doesn't listen to anyone now. I'm afraid she would hurt you even more. You're our only treasure now, and I don't want you to be hurt in any way." Mu Tongxue nodded, sitting on the bed, her face full of worry. "Then, what about Sis being a mistress? I went to your aunt. Why would she admit it? She said that Muqiqi sleeps at 9 every day, and I suspect that she's fooling around behind your aunt's back." Mama Mu sneered. "Even so, it's hard to prove their innocence. But we can't do anything to them now since we don't have custody of your sister." Mu Tongxue did not ask further. She could only find out if she investigated on her own, and did her aunt trust Muqiqi that much? Then what if she had another part of Muqiqi's diary? Mu Tongxue did not believe that her aunt would remain indifferent when she showed it to her. The next morning, Muqiqi received a call from Xing Xiao just as she got out of bed. She was immediately energized. "Xiao Xiao, what's up? It's so early. Are you sure you won't regret letting me decide your school?" Xing Xiao asked her with certainty. "No regrets. Don't tell me you didn't sleep the whole night because of what I said last night?" Muqiqi replied. "You wish." Xing Xiao sneered. "I've already sent you the name of the school and the name of the department." After hanging up the phone sweetly, Muqiqi opened the inbox on her phone. When she saw the name of the school, she immediately jumped up from the bed. Did Xiao Xiao want her to enter his alma mater and become his junior? Senior, junior. At that thought, Mu Qiqi promptly decided that she would follow in his footsteps. That was why Mu Qiqi went to school early in the morning. It was then that Mu Tangxue appeared near the little mansion with her backpack. She wanted to meet Su Zipei in private. Mu Tangxue waited by the door just as Mama Mu did when the security guards refused to let her in. Su Zipei would go out every day to buy groceries for Mu Qiqi, and she did a double take when she saw Mu Tangxue standing in the snow when she left the iron gates. Even so, she knew that it was not Mu Qiqi. Although they were twin sisters, their auras were completely different. Su Zipei could tell who was Mu Qiqi and who was Mu Tangxue at once. That was why her expression was a little unnatural. The Mu family was really something. Did they not stop pestering her every day? That was why Su Zipei was about to ignore her, but Mu Tangxue stopped her. Aunt Zipei, I want to talk to you. You're not even going to school and waiting here just to talk to me. Su Zipei smiled. What are you trying to sow discord in front of me, Tangxue? Doesn't Aunt Zipei know that sister is meeting a man? Mu Tangxue asked Su Zipei. I told you that Mu Tangxue doesn't have time to meet strange men. How long are you going to slander her? Well, what if I have proof? With those words, Mu Tangxue took out a few pages of Mu Qiqi's diary from her bag and handed it to Su Zipei. Aunt Zipei, take a look at it yourself. I'm worried about sister. Su Zipei took the diary, but did not give Mu Tangxue any face, and promptly returned to the little mansion. Why would the Mu family not let Mu Tangxue go? Hence, Su Zipei threw the pages of Mu Tangxue's diary into a drawer. Who would read something that violated their privacy? Mu Qiqi would definitely be upset if she knew. She was Mu Tangxue's only relative now, and would she not believe Mu Qiqi? Mu Tangxue was not confident that Su Zipei would read it, and even guessed that Su Zipei would know about it. That was why her trip was in vain. Still, it would be nice to tell Mu Qiqi about it and see her reaction, even though she would feel terrible after entering the classroom. Look, White Lotus Mu is here, you still have the courage to come. Mu Qiqi turned to Mu Tangxue, who gestured for her to go outside for a private chat. Mu Qiqi rose to her feet and went to the corridor outside the classroom. Soon Mu Tangxue came out as well and said, I gave the rest of your diary to Aunt Zipei this morning while you were in school. That's why she's probably admiring what you wrote about holding a man's hand at home. Although Mu Qiqi was a little flustered at those words, she maintained her composure. Mu Tangxue, do you know why you're called White Lotus Mu now? Because you only know how to hide in a dark corner and do shameful things, while insisting that you're innocent. That's not important. I just want to know who your sugar daddy is. Others might not believe it, but you and I both know that he exists. Mu Tangxue told Mu Qiqi. Sister, I might not let go of that part of you in the future. Mu Qiqi glared at her coldly, not bothered to waste words with trash. I'm looking forward to it too. What's Aunt Zipei's expression when she sees you after school today? Mu Qiqi smiled when she saw Mu Tangxue's smug expression. She approached Mu Tangxue and said, Let's not talk about me. Let's talk about you. Mom and Dad probably didn't treat you well when they found out about your embarrassing incident at the hospital. That's how I came over. You'll have to bear it yourself from now on. I'm telling you, Uncle Mu will beat you up, and your delicate body, you have to take care of it or you won't be able to take a beating. Chapter 48. Right now, Mu Tangxue was having a hard time getting anything out of Mu Qiqi. Even if she had lost in reality, Mu Qiqi would not just stand by and watch as Mu Tangxue made a fool of herself. At worst, both sides would suffer. Her classmates were very disdainful of Mu Tangxue's return, since anyone would hate a snitch. Qiqi, let me tell you a secret. Many people in school have come up with ways to punish Mu Tangxue. It's going to be interesting when the time comes. Qian Qian told Mu Qiqi in private. White Lotus Mu, prepare to die. At that moment, Mu Qiqi could not enjoy the joy of victory. She was worried that her aunt might have read her diary. Mu Tangxue knew that she was about to be pranked since she was used to seeing others pranking Mu Qiqi. That was why she simply stayed behind her desk all day. When the bell rang, Mu Qiqi quickly got into old Lin's car, but on the way there, she texted Xing Xiao, who was overseas. Xiao Xiao. Mu Tangxue, I've shown my diary to Aunt Zipei. I'm afraid she would know what's on my mind. There was no response from Xing Xiao. Having no one to talk to, Mu Qiqi could only keep texting him. Aunt Zipei must find it hard to accept. Still, Xing Xiao did not answer because he was in a video conference. Holding her phone, Muchichi mustered her courage and went up to Su Zipei timidly when she saw her at the gates of the little mansion. "You're back? Let's eat." Su Zipei quickly gestured for her to put down her bag. Muchichi could not tell what Su Zipei was thinking. "Aunt Zipei, what is it?" Su Zipei asked. Muchichi shook her head. She did not have the courage to ask, and since Su Zipei did not react strangely to her, she quickly became a coward. "It's nothing." After eating, Muchichi went upstairs and sneaked into Su Zipei's room while she was tidying up in the kitchen to see if the diary Mu Tangxue mentioned was inside. In the end, she found a few pages stuck together in Su Zipei's bedside drawer, but she could not take them away. When she returned to her room, Muchichi immediately wrote a few new pages. She tore them into pieces and stuck them together with cellophane tape. Then, when Su Zipei was taking a shower, she secretly replaced the diary in her drawer. She was not sure if Su Zipei had read it, but she would only feel at ease if she had it in her hands. She carefully protected her relationship with Xing Xiao, because she knew that liking Xing Xiao was treason to Su Zipei. Perhaps she would only have the courage to tell Su Zipei that she liked Xiao Xiao after she entered the university. But now she still felt guilty. How could she fall in love with her savior? Wasn't he biting the hand that fed him? There was no reply from Xing Xiao, and Muchichi's emotions were very complicated. Still, just as Muchichi was about to fall asleep in bed, Xing Xiao finally replied. "If you're so scared, why did you continue?" Holding her phone, Muchichi felt upset when she read those words. "I'm scared, but I want to continue. It's fine even if my head bleeds." Then it was a long wait. Muchichi fell asleep, and it was only when she saw Xing Xiao's reply the next morning. "Sleeping so late? Are you trying to get last place in the whole school?" The man was talking about it again. Muchichi giggled foolishly on her bed and got up to go downstairs to meet Su Zipei. "Good morning, Aunt Zipei. Hurry up and have breakfast. I've received a notice from your school to attend a parent-teacher conference next Monday." Su Zipei told Muchichi, her expression unnatural. "Chichi, Aunt Zipei thinks that I shouldn't go. I would only embarrass you if I went, and I know that Eton students are rich and powerful." "Aunt Zipei, won't I be even more embarrassed if you put it that way? It's fine, you can go, or I'll be a student without a parent. Wouldn't that be terrible?" Muchichi stuck out her tongue at Su Zipei. "Aunt Zipei is just like my own mother in my heart. There's no difference in status and we can't compare." Su Zipei patted Muchichi's head and nodded. "All right, I'll be going." Muchichi nodded. She heard everyone talking about the parent-teacher conference when she entered school. The semester was about to end, which was why it was customary for parents to be concerned about their children's grades. In fact, it was a competition in disguise. Which family in Eton did not have mountains of gold and silver? And Muchichi was special. Hence, Chen Chen propped her head on her hand and asked Muchichi, "Who's coming from your family?" "I only have my aunt. What do you think?" Muchichi retorted. "What about her?" Chen Chen gestured at Mu Tangxue with her chin. "She's none of my business." Muchichi replied. According to Eton's tradition, every student's family is rich and powerful, wearing limited edition branded goods from head to toe. "Chichi, if your period comes, you might have to put up with some ugly looks. You know, being a rich person is just that realistic." Chen Chen reminded Muchichi. Muchichi knew that Su Zipei would only be humiliated if she came to the parent-teacher conference. Moreover, how could she bear to let her aunt be humiliated? Mu Tangxue was well aware of Muchichi's predicament. Hence, she approached her after class and asked, "Sis, don't tell me you're asking Aunt Zipei to help you attend the parent-teacher conference?" Muchichi turned to look at Mu Tangxue with a none of your business expression. "My parents would be there too. It's a pity that you're no longer in the Mu family's custody, and you can't represent yourself. If you really ask Aunt Zipei to attend, I'm afraid it's not appropriate. You know she's been poor all her life. She'd make a fool of herself if she goes on stage." Muchichi glared at Mu Tangxue before shouting loudly in front of the entire class, "Shut your filthy mouth and return to your seat. Don't let me see you. Cooperate, okay?" Mu Tangxue said nothing else and turned to return to her seat. After all, Muchichi really had no one to help her attend the parent-teacher conference. How embarrassing would that be? Therefore Mu Tangxue smiled coldly. Since she had left the Mu family so casually, she would have to bear the price. Muchichi hesitated at Mu Tangxue's words. It was not that she despised Su Zipei's family background, but she was worried that other parents would embarrass Su Zipei. She did not want someone she cherished to suffer. Even so, she could not live without a parent. Chapter 49. Let your aunt go, and she has to go. But Mu Chichi was very worried that Su Zipei would be mocked by others, especially Mama Mu. She did not want her aunt to suffer such humiliation. Leave the rest to Jing Yun. Would Jing Yun spare her aunt a few days' worth of mockery? Mu Chichi knew very well that the elegance and composure of nobles emanated from their very bones, while Su Zipei's aura was very simple. Even if she did not know how it would turn out, she could not do without her parents. Qian Qian seemed to have noticed her friend's distress and so told her, "What's wrong with letting your aunt attend? What's the point of being richer now? If you're afraid of being bullied by White Lotus Mu, I can tell my parents to take care of your aunt." Mu Chichi could not help smiling at that. "It's good enough that you're so considerate. I'll think of something myself." In fact, Qian Qian was right. At most, if someone bullied her aunt, she would fight them to the death. In the evening, Mu Chichi returned home after class to find that the stylist arranged by Jing Yun had arrived at the little mansion, and was now changing Su Zipei's appearance. "You're back, Chichi?" Su Zipei was sitting on the sofa, letting the stylist trim her hair. "Aunt, what are you doing?" "Young Master Sheng told me not to embarrass you at the parent-teacher conference. So he arranged for these designers to help Aunt Zipei. They will also teach Aunt Zipei a lot about fashion, so you don't have to worry when the time comes." Su Zipei smiled at her. "Young Master Sheng has been very kind to us. That's why she's so obsessed with that man," Mu Chichi thought. "You guys continue. I'm going upstairs to do my homework." With those words, Mu Chichi grabbed her bag and went upstairs. Then she took out her phone and texted Xing Xiao. "Xiao Xiao, are you really going to change your aunt? In just a few days?" Xing Xiao did not reply to Mu Chichi when he received the message. Judging from the little one's excitement, she must be looking forward to the parent-teacher conference in a few days. Seeing that Xing Xiao was not giving up, Mu Chichi decided not to be discouraged. If worst came to worst, she would do her best to protect Su Zipei if she was bullied. Mu Chichi did not know when Xing Xiao would be back, so she brought the blueprints to a professional craftsman over the weekend, and used the pocket money she had saved to have the craftsman teach her how to make it. She didn't need the cufflinks to be exquisite, but they had to be unique in this world. 3 days later, Su Zipei had completely changed her appearance. Her long, silky hair had turned into a short, fluffy hairstyle, accentuating her exquisite facial features. With her perfect makeup, Mu Chichi could not help but be surprised. There was indeed a huge difference after a woman put on makeup. Next was her style of dressing. In the past, Su Zipei was very thrifty, casual, and simple. But now there was someone who matched her clothes and put them in the wardrobe. She would never make a mistake again. In other words, from head to toe, even from her behavior, Su Zipei was like a noble from the British royal family. "Aunt Zipei, I don't even recognize you." Mu Chichi could not help exclaiming when she saw Su Zipei's transformation. Then a slender figure walked behind Mu Chichi and held her wriggling shoulders. "Why are you so excited?" Mu Chichi turned and almost jumped when she saw Xing Xiao. Fortunately, Su Zipei was there and she held back and did not lunge at him. "Brother Xiao, why are you here?" "To check the results." Xing Xiao was still tired and the plane had just landed. Still, he couldn't care less about anything else as he missed the little one, and went to the little mansion first. Then Xing Xiao studied Su Zipei from head to toe with a sharp gaze. "Not bad. Yes, Aunt Zipei. You'll definitely be the prettiest tomorrow." Mu Chichi sighed in awe. "But Xiao Xiao, no, I mean Brother Xiao, what if someone else hits on you? Stay aloof the whole time, and look at others as if I'm looking down on all of you. Don't respond to what others say, especially Mama Mu's provocations. Remember, everyone but you will be a joke tomorrow." Not to mention Su Zipei, even Mu Chichi felt her blood boiling after hearing that. Of course, Mu Chichi and Su Zipei were complementary, and Su Zipei could not do without Mu Chichi's cooperation. "And you?" Xing Xiao turned to look at Mu Chichi and told her, "You must look at others with the attitude of, 'My aunt is so noble and cold,' you must hold back if you can't accept it. You must remain calm even in the face of Mu Tangshua's provocation, and radiate calmness from your bones." Mu Chichi nodded at that. "I understand, Brother Xiao. If that's the case, I'll watch your performance tomorrow. I'm going back to the Sheng family." In just a few short minutes, Xing Xiao was about to leave when Mu Chichi stopped him. "Do you want to eat before you leave? There's something else," Xing Xiao said and mouthed to Mu Chichi, "See you tonight." Mu Chichi nodded and did not stop him. "I'll see you out. Save your strength for the parent-teacher conference tomorrow." With those venomous words, Xing Xiao turned and left. Muchichi wanted to see Xing Xiao at all times, but he was really too busy. Young Master Sheng is such a good person. It must be hard on him to take care of us alone when he's so busy. I only hope that he could find a beautiful young lady and live happily ever after. Muchichi couldn't help asking Su Zipei at that. Aunt Zipei, what kind of girl do you think Brother Xiao is suitable for? Su Zipei thought about it and shook her head. I really can't think of anyone who would be good enough for young Master Sheng. Muchichi was both happy and sad at that. After all, she was too ordinary while Xing Xiao was too dazzling. She was not even sure if Xing Xiao liked her, or if he was just teasing her on a whim. On his way home after leaving the small mansion, Xing Xiao ran into Jing Yun, who was waiting for him. Young master, the banquet is about to start and there are many young ladies here tonight. It seems that the chairman is looking for a partner for you young masters and ladies. I don't care. You know my taste. Xing Xiao told Jing Yun. I'm leaving halfway through the banquet. Help me think of something. Understood, young master. Chapter 50. At the celebration banquet, the chips clashed and goblets clattered. Xing Xiao sat in a corner bored, completely unwilling to join such a boring and time-wasting gathering. When Papa Sheng saw that Xing Xiao was sitting in a corner, he gestured for a few single girls to come over and strike up a conversation. Many of the socialites had the heart but not the guts. One of them, a voluptuous young lady from the Jiang family, walked up to Xing Xiao ostentatiously, intent on challenging the legend of aristocratic circles. Young Master Sheng, do you mind if I sit beside you? Xing Xiao opened his eyes and glanced at her. There was a teasing smile at the corner of his mouth. Compared to a hill, I prefer a flat plain. I wonder if Miss Jiang has heard of the phrase big breasts without brains? Miss Jiang did a double take, a flame abruptly burning in her eyes. Young Master Sheng doesn't seem to care about women. You're wrong. There's still someone who catches my eye. Who is it? Xing Xiao smiled and stood up from the sofa. He said to her, I'm going to do something exciting with her now. Are you coming with me? Miss Jiang's expression was complicated and distressed. There was no one like Xing Xiao who was unrestrained and unafraid of offending anyone. But it was precisely because of his terrible character that he attracted a lot of attention. In the end, Xing Xiao went to Jing Yun's side, because he knew that Jing Yun had informed Papa Mu that Xing Xiao must leave at once. Nonetheless, when they left the hotel, Xing Xiao told Jing Yun, get out of the car. Young master, even if you're going to see Miss Muchichi, you still have to take care of things or I'll be troubled. Jing Yun's excuse for having Xing Xiao come out was that there was an emergency that Xing Xiao had to deal with immediately. Xing Xiao said nothing and simply waved at Jing Yun, gesturing for him to go home by himself. After that, Xing Xiao drove to the small mansion, and sent his little one a text message when he got downstairs. Moments later, Muchichi jogged into the car, the fragrance of her body still lingering in Xing Xiao's nostrils. Still, it was much more relaxing than the expensive perfumes that women wore, and Xing Xiao couldn't help putting his hand on Muchichi's shoulder. Smells so good. Use this from now on and don't change it. Muchichi knew at once when she saw his retro black suit that he had come from some big occasion. Are you not busy? Xing Xiao retracted his head and said proudly, then I'm leaving, don't go. Muchichi quickly grabbed him. It wasn't easy for me to see you. Aren't you afraid of your aunt? Xing Xiao glanced sideways at her and asked. I'm scared, but I can't control my heart either. Your heart is already under my control, Xing Xiao told her directly. When Muchichi heard that, she immediately lowered her head and muttered, what about your heart? Pretending not to hear it, Xing Xiao leaned on Muchichi's shoulder and closed his eyes to rest. Muchichi did not ask further because she knew that it was one-sided. She wanted to like him, and even if he did not respond, her heart would not change. After a long while, Xing Xiao spoke again, don't forget your past and your dreams because of me. Muchichi was a little disappointed at that, but she quickly took out a small gift box from her pocket and gave it to Xing Xiao. This is for you. What is it? Xing Xiao took it and opened it to see that it was a cufflink. He looked very used to it. I made it myself. Muchichi added. Xing Xiao simply put it in his coat pocket and said nothing else, turning to Muchichi. Go back. Your aunt will come looking for you later. Xiao Xiao, aren't you afraid? Muchichi sat in the car and did not move. It was then that Xing Xiao reached out and hooked his arm around her neck, pulling her closer. I've told you before. Don't think about getting out alone since you dragged me into hell. I didn't want to get out alone. Muchichi said, feeling wronged. But I don't dare to ask anything from Xiao Xiao. I can only be careful. Perhaps drunk, Xing Xiao simply picked Muchichi up and placed her on his lap. Muchichi did a double take. She had never sat on Xing Xiao in such a position. Even so, they could clearly feel each other's warmth. Muchichi could also smell the scent of red wine on Xing Xiao's body. You drank? Xing Xiao was about to say something when he saw someone passing by the woods. He quickly put Muchichi back on her seat and said to her after the person left, "Go back. I'll come back tomorrow night." Okay. Muchichi nodded. Then she opened the door and got out of the car. She watched as Xing Xiao drove away, feeling complicated and upset. It was clearly shameful and she had to be careful. Why did she plunge headfirst into it? Soon Muchichi returned to her room. Xing Xiao did not react even after she gave him the gift. He probably would not like something made by a child like her. In fact, she would not know that Xing Xiao parked his car by the roadside after he left the little mansion. He took out a small box from his coat and touched the cufflinks inside. After all, it was the first time Xing Xiao had received something made by someone else since he was a child. Although the design of the cufflinks was not very impressive and even looked adorably ugly, Xing Xiao put them in the pocket of his suit, close to his heart. The next day, when Muchichi went downstairs, Su Zipei was ready to go to Eton to make Muchichi proud. Muchichi quickly gave her a thumbs up when she saw that Su Zipei was dressed in luxury goods. "You're so beautiful today. It's good that you like it. But it's too expensive and I'm afraid I'll break it." "Don't be nervous, Aunt Zipei. Just do as Xiao, Brother Xiao said last night." Muchichi told Su Zipei. "Don't worry, it won't break." Su Zipei smiled and poked Muchichi's nose. "Don't worry. I know what to do. I won't drop the ball when it matters." Muchichi made an okay gesture and left the little mansion with Su Zipei after breakfast. Even old Lin was impressed by Su Zipei. "You're very beautiful today, Miss Su." Su Zipei smiled at old Lin as Xing Xiao taught her. That was how one's temperament came to be. Soon they got into the car. Still, Muchichi, who had just told Su Zipei not to be nervous, was now nervous herself. Chapter 51. When they arrived at Eton's gates, Su Zipei and Muchichi got out of their respective cars and walked side by side towards the gates. The designer had trained Su Zipei on how to walk properly, and though it was only for a short time, Su Zipei remembered the essentials. In short, she had to walk with her head held high, and posture was very important. It was the most direct expression of a woman's dignity. Muchichi looked around to observe the attention of the students, and found that they were staring at Su Zipei from time to time. There was no mockery in their eyes but amazement. Even the principal, who was passing by, noticed Su Zipei and Muchichi's footsteps when he saw them walking past him. "Are you all right?" Su Zipei quickly asked Muchichi when there was no one around. Muchichi smiled and gave her a thumbs up. Su Zipei held Muchichi's shoulder and they arrived at the gates of the classroom. Most of the students and their parents were already there, including Mu Tangxue and her mother, who had wanted to wake up early to watch Muchichi make a fool of herself. Who knew? Mama Mu was shocked when Su Zipei entered the classroom wearing a black coat and holding a diamond-studded handbag. She could not believe her eyes. Su Zipei was younger than most of the parents present, and a few years younger than Mama Mu herself. She was certainly more eye-catching than Mama Mu with her meticulous dressing and outstanding presence. "Shue, is that your aunt?" Mu Tangxue nodded and turned to her mother. "Yes, Mommy. I can't believe it." Mama Mu's chest was overflowing with indignation. Muchichi deliberately observed the mother and daughter's expressions and sneered. Sometimes she could not help but wonder if she was born from her aunt, and had nothing to do with the mother and daughter. Chen Chen quickly approached Muchichi when she saw her at her seat. "Your aunt is so beautiful. What are you afraid of?" "That's because you haven't seen how shameless some people are. I'm afraid that my aunt will be bullied." Muchichi answered Chen Chen quietly. "Don't be afraid. Mommy and I are on your side." Hence, while everyone was waiting for their parents, Mama Mu quickly went to Su Zipei and told her, "Look, my sister looks extraordinary after dressing up." Even so, Su Zipei simply ignored Mama Mu. She simply held Muchichi's shoulder and chatted happily with both of them. Utterly embarrassed, Mama Mu could only return to Mu Tangshue's side. That was when the other parents around them couldn't help laughing. After all, Su Zipei never even looked at Mama Mu. It was Chan Chan's mother who asked, "The bag in your hand?" Mama Mu sneered at the side. After all, Su Zipei was a fat man who had been beaten up. He was only putting on a show. Perhaps he had even borrowed the bag or bought a fake one. How would he know the origin of such an expensive bag? Even a noble woman like her who had been married to a rich family for many years would not be able to recognize those famous brands. However, Mama Mu did not expect that. Su Zipei smiled at him and then said, "That's right. The Queen of England once mentioned something similar. There are only two in the world. One is in the Queen's house and the other is in my hands." "Oh my God, it's beautiful." Su Zipei lifted the bag and told Qianshan's mother, "Do you want to take a look? Is it really convenient?" Qianshan's mother was flattered. "Of course," Su Zipei said as she handed her purse to him. Qianshan carefully took it and flipped through it. Then Mama Mu said, "Why not? It's all fake." "Fake? To tell the truth, my sister wouldn't be able to afford such a bag with her status," Mama Mu interrupted. Mama Mu interrupted. "How could a woman who lives in the slums, and who has to deal with bedbugs afford such an expensive handbag? Don't forget where you come from before you talk about me." Su Zipei retorted softly. "Are you going to tell everyone that you come from the slums too?" Mama Mu's face reddened at once. "If you could marry into a rich family, why can't I?" Su Zipei asked in return. "Or do you feel uncomfortable because I'm younger and prettier than you?" Mama Mu's face turned from crimson to red. "Well, which rich man did you marry, Aunt Zipei? We could visit him some other day." Mu Tangxue quickly helped her mother out of the predicament. "There's no need for that since we don't know each other that well. But a few months ago, wasn't my uncle still a hooligan who owed money everywhere and never returned it?" "What? Do I have to ask for your opinion before I remarry?" Su Zipei asked in return. "I thought that the Mu family wouldn't be so arrogant after not seeing each other for so long. I didn't expect that you're still pushing me so hard. Is that how your family has been taught?" The other parents watched as the two exchanged blows as if they were watching a show. Of course, the others could tell that Mama Mu had been causing trouble for Su Zipei. She was simply mocking Qianshan's background. Qianshan's mother, however, had the same temperament as Qianshan and could not bear to see someone she liked being bullied. She quickly said, "Since Madame Mu says that this is a fake bag, please tell me if you recognize it." Mama Mu was left speechless at that. Although Mama Mu had married into a rich family for many years, Papa Mu had always been strict with her. She was only responsible for taking care of her husband and children at home, and had no time to study such things. What she recognized were merely the branded ones she often used. "It seems that you don't know, Madame Mu. But how do you know that it's a fake bag?" "Zipei knows that I'm usually too concerned about my children to pay attention to such things. Then why would you mock someone else for a fake bag?" Qianshan's mother challenged Mama Mu. Mama Mu stuttered, unable to answer. That was when Su Zipei smiled and stopped arguing with Mama Mu. In that very moment, Mama Mu wanted to dig a hole and hide in it, because it was too embarrassing. Mu Tangxue felt as if she had lost all face. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi looked around for Papa Mu. Mu Tangxue had said that her parents would be there. But where was Papa Mu? It was weird that Papa Mu would attend such an event for Mu Tangxue, but Mu Qiqi knew it very well. As for Mu Tangxue, she should have understood what it meant to be oppressed by force, right? Today's event was one such example. Mu Qiqi loved her aunt too much. Because of that, Su Zipei was completely calm in such an occasion, and her aura did not lose out to the others. It did not matter if she lost face or not, but she loved seeing her aunt dazzling like that. Xiao Xiao was really amazing. He could actually turn something rotten into something magical. Chapter 52. Soon the teacher entered the classroom. After exchanging greetings with the parents, other than communicating with them on how to guide their children in choosing a major and how to ease their children's nervousness, he also said something very important, and that was the guaranteed admission. The teacher's gaze was clearly on Mu Qiqi when she mentioned the words guaranteed admission. Her current results, as well as the important mathematics competition awards that she had won, were enough for her to qualify as a guaranteed student. "Qiqi, it seems that the teacher has decided to recommend you," Qianshan whispered into her ear. "I can't tell," Mu Qiqi replied. "Can't you tell? With your results, it's only a matter of time before you're guaranteed a spot. No matter what, it won't be your mediocre sister's turn." When Qianshan said this, she deliberately raised her voice so that the mother and daughter could hear her. Mu Tangxue turned to look at Qianshan. There was an indescribable emotion in her eyes, but Qianshan stuck her tongue out at her. "I'm going to piss you off if you can't get the guaranteed admission." That was the other reason Su Zipei could hold her head high in Eton. Mu Qiqi's excellent results were obvious to all. She had been suppressed before, but now she was shining like a shining gold in Eton. On the other hand, Mu Tongxue, who had so many advantages before, could only produce mediocre results in Eton. That left Mama Mu unable to lift her head. On the other hand, Mu Tongxue was definitely inferior to Mu Qiqi in every aspect. Mommy? I'm sorry. Mu Tongxue apologized to Mama Mu insincerely. It's my fault, I've embarrassed you. We'll talk about that later. Mama Mu had suffered enough today. Su Zipei alone had already upset her, and now there was Mu Qiqi as well. It was clearly the same upbringing, but when Mu Qiqi was in the Mu family she could be said to have done all sorts of evil deeds. But after leaving the Mu family she actually became so outstanding. Wasn't this a harsh slap to her face? Yes, Mommy. Mu Tongxue knew that she was at a disadvantage today, so she did not want to say anything else. Soon, the whole class was discussing about the guaranteed admission and how beautiful Mu Qiqi's aunt was, completely disregarding the Mu family's mother and daughter. Mama Mu could not stand such contempt, and could only find an excuse to leave the parent-teacher conference before it was over. Chen Chen snorted when she saw Mu Tongxue sprawled on the desk all alone. White Lotus Mu deserves it. At that, Mu Tongxue resented her mother for abandoning her in such an occasion. Mu Qiqi didn't say anything. She just held Su Zipei's right hand tightly. The relationship between them was self-evident. They were even closer than mother and daughter. After the parent-teacher conference, Mu Qiqi and Su Zipei were invited to the school office, because he wanted to discuss the recommendation with Mu Qiqi. Qiqi, based on your current results, you will definitely be able to get into Shengting University. However, you might not be able to choose your faculty. Are you willing to go? Shengting University. Mu Qiqi was stunned when she heard the name of the school. Although Su Zipei's eyes were full of anticipation, Mu Qiqi still shook her head. Teacher, I want to take the exam myself. I want to choose my own faculty. The teacher was puzzled. Are you sure? If you miss the recommendation, it might not be that safe for you to take the exam yourself. Teacher, I just want to achieve my goal through my own hard work. Mu Qiqi answered firmly. If you don't like Shengting University, where do you want to go? It's not that I don't like Shengting University. I just want to prove myself. Mu Qiqi corrected herself. I'm letting you down. Actually, I expected it. Since you have made up your mind, I won't force you. Good luck, Qiqi. Mu Qiqi nodded. When Xing Xiao spent the whole night looking for the faculty for her, she had already decided to try her best to get into that faculty. So, Mu Qiqi did not want the recommendation. When they left the teacher's office, Su Zipei asked Mu Qiqi pitifully, what if I make a mistake? Aunt Zipei, can you trust me? Moreover, this is my own life. I will try my best to plan it well. All right. Su Zipei nodded. No one noticed that Mu Tongxue was pretending to knock on the door but was actually eavesdropping on them. Unexpectedly, Mu Qiqi was so confident that she wanted to get into Shengting University by herself. Did she think it was that easy? No matter what, she must get the recommendation. Not only because she wanted to get into the best university, but also because it belonged to Mu Qiqi. No matter what, Mu Qiqi and Su Zipei were in the limelight in this parent-teacher conference. Mu Tongxue was even mocked by others. Chen Chen sighed when she thought of Mu Tongxue being alone in the parent-teacher conference. I have never seen a mother like this. She threw her daughter here as a shield when she lost face. How could she do that? You are lucky that you left the Mu family. No wonder Mu Tongxue is a psychopath. No one in the Mu family is normal. She has no sense of responsibility at all. She has been like this ever since she married into the Mu family. Her husband is strict and she has no opinions of her own. Mu Qiqi answered Chen Chen. She can sacrifice her daughter for her own benefit. Well, Mu Tongxue isn't having a good time in the Mu family either, of course. Mu Qiqi thought that Mu Tongxue had to bear all the negative emotions of the family after she left the Mu family. Did Mu Tongxue think that she could become the darling of the family? Mu Qiqi understood everything, and the first thing she did after school in the evening was to text Xiao Xiao, telling him everything that happened in the parent-teacher conference today. I've never been so excited. I feel like I'm floating when I see you shining so brightly, Aunt Zipei. Knowing the little one's pride, Xing Xiao smiled devilishly. Remember to repay me. I'll repay you then. Then Mu Qiqi told Xing Xiao about her rejection of the recommendation. I think I'm a little silly, but I still want to rely on myself. You have the ability. Xing Xiao replied simply. Xiao Xiao, I want to see you now. I feel happier than I have ever been. Mu Qiqi typed as she got out of the car. It was only then that she noticed that Xing Zhao's car was parked outside the little mansion. Chapter 53. Xiao. Brother Xiao. At the moment, Xing Xiao was sitting in the living room, flipping through the television as he pleased. Wash your hands. It's almost time for dinner. Su Zipei came out of the kitchen and told Mu Qiqi, who had lunged at her, before turning to enter the kitchen. Mu Qiqi walked up to Xing Xiao, seizing the opportunity to hold his right hand. But she let go a second later, afraid that Su Zipei would notice. I'm going to change. Xing Xiao gestured for her to hurry with his chin, his eyes unconsciously showing a hint of indulgence. Soon Mu Qiqi changed and went downstairs. Su Zipei had already prepared the cutlery, and Xing Xiao sat down at the dining table. Thank you so much, young Master Xing. If it wasn't for you, our Mu Qiqi would have been bullied. Su Zipei thanked Xing Xiao even as she took a seat. Look at you. You spend money and work hard. We really don't know how to repay you. It's fine. Mu Qiqi can pay me back in the future. Xing Xiao replied nonchalantly. On the surface, it sounded as if he was waiting for Mu Qiqi to grow up and work. Still, only Mu Qiqi and Xing Xiao knew the meaning behind his words. That was why Mu Qiqi blushed. To hide her blush, she had to bury her head in her bowl and pretend to be hungry. This child eats slowly. Xing Xiao tilted his head and looked at Mu Qiqi. He smiled and continued eating. After a while, Mu Qiqi finished eating and quickly said to the two of them, I'm done eating. I'll go upstairs to study. Young Master Xing, please don't forgive her. You've spoiled her rotten. It's good that she's spoiled. Xing Xiao said with a hidden meaning. I've told you before that I hope she can do whatever she wants in Jianchuan. That's not right. You're going to get married and have children, and you can't stay by her side forever. You've done enough for us, young Master Xing. I have nothing else to ask for, and I'm willing to work like a horse for you in the next life. Xing Xiao did not reply. In fact, the answer in his mind was that he did not want to work like a horse in the next life. That was too far away. All he wanted was Mu Qiqi and nothing else. Soon Xing Xiao finished his meal and left. Because it was still early, he went back to Huangyao to settle his own business first. At around 9 o'clock, he returned to the small villa. Mu Qiqi quietly left the house after receiving Xing Xiao's message. After Mu Qiqi got into his car, Xing Xiao drove her away from the small mansion. This time, the two of them did not go to an amusement park or a small forest. Instead, they went to the highest peak of Jianchuan to watch the night view. She could only sit in the car because it was too cold, but she was very excited to be able to overlook all of Jianchuan. Xiao Xiao. Xing Xiao did not say a word. He simply carried Mu Qiqi and placed her on his thighs. Mu Qiqi sat on him and wrapped her arms around his neck. Neither of them said a word, as if they were enjoying the intimacy of the moment. Once you get into Xingting University's engineering faculty, I'll prepare a place to welcome you outside the campus, Xing Xiao suddenly said after a while. You mean? Although Mu Qiqi understood, she could not believe it. So, she wanted to confirm it again. I won't repeat myself. Xing Xiao was not that patient. Is that a promise to me? Mu Qiqi mustered her courage and asked Xing Xiao. Can I take it that way? Xing Xiao moved closer to Mu Qiqi so that she had no chance to escape. He stared into her eyes and said, Do you think you can still run away? I'm not running away. But do we have to live together in university? Xing Xiao could not help laughing at Mu Qiqi's words. Mu Qiqi was head over heels for him. Live together? What's in your head all day? Mu Qiqi felt that she was being teased. She turned her face away and ignored Xing Xiao. Xing Xiao was about to let go of her, but Mu Qiqi quickly clung to him. I was wrong, all right? Xiao Xiao. I just can't believe it. I don't even dare to think about it. I want to be by your side so much, but sometimes, I feel that it's a dream that's impossible to realize. You're already on the way to hell. What's there to be afraid of? Xing Xiao asked Mu Qiqi teasingly. You're already bad. Do you think that the outcome would be different if you hold back? Mu Qiqi thought about it and nodded. You're right. The cold wind was blowing against her face. It was bone-chilling, but Xing Xiao's kiss made Mu Qiqi's entire body heat up. She liked Xing Xiao so much. She was so infatuated with him that she wouldn't have any complaints even if she had to go to hell for this moment. Soon, Xing Xiao brought Mu Qiqi back to the little mansion. If anyone had noticed Mu Qiqi's lips, they would have known what she had done just now. However, Mu Qiqi was not so lucky this time. She had sneaked into the house and did not notice Su Zipei standing by the kitchen door. It was only when she went upstairs that she heard the sound of the door closing downstairs. Mu Qiqi's heart raced. Could Su Zipei have seen her coming out? Mu Qiqi quickly called Xing Xiao. Xiao Xiao, Aunt Zipei seems to have seen me coming home. Would she find out about us? Why did you come out to meet me if you're so afraid of being found out? Xiao Xiao. Mu Qiqi begged Xing Xiao softly. Xing Xiao had no choice but to tell Mu Qiqi, "Go to sleep. I'll think of something." Mu Qiqi nodded. Although she was destined to have insomnia that night, she could not think of anything with her brain. Su Zipei had indeed seen Mu Qiqi carefully entering the house with her own eyes. She was shocked and remembered what Mu Tangxue had told her about a man who often brought Mu Qiqi out and bought her all sorts of things. Could Mu Qiqi really be hiding something from her? At that thought, Su Zipei quickly took out the diary pages from the bedside table and read through them. But she did not find anything out of the ordinary after that. Although Mu Qiqi mentioned a boy from time to time, it was just as Mu Qiqi had told Su Zipei, it was all boys in school. Still, who was Mu Qiqi meeting when she sneaked out just now? Xing Xiao had just appeared in the afternoon, which was why it could not be him. Could Mu Qiqi really have a sugar daddy? That was impossible. Su Zipei knew that she would not be able to get anything out of Mu Qiqi, which was why she pretended that it never happened. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi was calm the next day. Xiao Xiao had told her that she must not feel guilty even if something was exposed, or it would be the same as admitting it. Morning, Aunt Zipei. Mu Qiqi appeared no different from any other day when she came out of her bedroom. Chapter 54. On the other hand, both Mu Tangxue and Mama Mu were keeping quiet after their embarrassment at the parent-teacher conference yesterday. None of them had the courage to tell Papa Mu, since Mu Tangshue's results were not presentable, and Mama Mu was humiliated at the conference. When Papa Mu asked, Mu Tangxue told him about the recommendation. After all, the teacher did not announce who the student was, and she overheard Mu Qiqi refusing the recommendation when she was outside the teacher's office. That was why Mu Tangxue hinted that Papa Mu could help her fight for the spot. Even if her grades were not the best, she had won many awards. If the teacher was not biased, it would not be too difficult for her to get the recommendation. Of course, Papa Mu had to communicate with the school first. Papa Mu nodded as he sipped his coffee. I promised to go with you to the parent-teacher conference yesterday, but I broke my promise because of work. To compensate my obedient daughter, I'll definitely help you with the recommendation. It's an honor for the Mu family. Papa Mu promised Mu Tangxue himself. He even called his secretary and asked him to make sure that Mu Tangxue got the recommendation. Mu Tangxue was secretly delighted. Thanks, Dad. In fact, everyone believed that Mu Qiqi would be the one to be recommended. If Mu Tangxue was the one who got it, she would feel that she was stealing something that belonged to Mu Qiqi. No one would know that Mu Qiqi refused the recommendation herself. After all, Mu Qiqi would be scolded for being virtuous. On the other hand, after Mu Qiqi left the house, Su Zipei quietly entered Mu Qiqi's room. She rummaged through the place where girls hid their secrets, but did not find anything suspicious. However, she saw that the sapphire hair ornament and the Christmas gloves were left on the desk. She did not pick them up. Of course, she did not have any impression of those things. Could those be the gifts from that man? Su Zipei did not move, and left Mu Qiqi's room so that she would not notice. But Mu Qiqi knew very well that if Su Zipei really saw her coming home last night, she would definitely go to her room to check on her. However, Mu Qiqi chose not to react because Xing Xiao had already prepared a countermeasure for her. However, she might not be able to sneak out at night to meet Xiao Xiao for the next few days. In the school, the topic of guaranteed entry was still being discussed. There were many people who were eager for those places, but Mu Qiqi had already rejected them herself. Papa Mu's secretary had visited Eton 3 times, hoping that the school would fairly evaluate Mu Tangshue's recommendation. Although the teacher did not like Mu Tangxue, she still checked her personal information impartially. Indeed, she was recommended by Shengting University. The Mu family only hoped that Eton would not be biased against Mu Tangxue because of Mu Qiqi, since the academy had stopped her from entering Eton before. Papa Mu's secretary used that as an excuse to ask the school to reconsider. In the end, the school relented. Either way, the recommendation still depended on the National Education Department's review, which was why recommending Mu Tangxue now was not a big deal. The teacher recommended Mu Tangxue reluctantly, but at the same time she had greater hopes for Mu Qiqi. She hoped that Mu Qiqi would do well. As such, the teacher gave Mu Qiqi a heads up, and Mu Tangxue was already on the list of recommended spots. Mu Qiqi was uncomfortable, but she was the one who rejected it, and she had no right to be upset. Moreover, Su Zipei noticed her going out last night, which left Mu Qiqi depressed. She did not know if she could see Xiao Xiao that night. In the evening, Mu Qiqi returned home from school, but did not see old Lin's car when she stepped out of the school gates. Mu Qiqi was about to call old Lin when she saw Xing Xiao's call. "Same place. Waiting for you." Xing Xiao was referring to the same place where he had camped Mu Tongxue. Mu Qiqi promptly ran there and got into Xing Xiao's car when no one was looking. "Xiao Xiao, where's Uncle Lin?" "I've talked to your aunt. I'm taking you out for dinner tonight," Xing Xiao told Mu Qiqi. Mu Qiqi was delighted to see Xing Xiao. She thought she would not be able to sneak out at night to meet Xiao Xiao anymore. Moreover, when Xing Xiao mentioned that he was taking Mu Qiqi out at the small mansion, Su Zipei had specifically asked him if he knew about Mu Qiqi's sapphire hair accessory. Xing Xiao explained, "It's the one she wore to the birthday party on her 18th birthday." Su Zipei thought about it and realized that it was true. "Then I've misunderstood," Su Zipei murmured. "Young Master Sheng, did you notice that Mu Qiqi was in contact with someone other than you?" "No." With that, Xing Xiao drove away from the small mansion and headed towards Eton. And Su Zipei did notice it. Even so, Su Zipei did not suspect that it was Xing Xiao. In fact, she hoped that Xing Xiao would bring Mu Qiqi around more often, because that would prevent her from meeting random people. "Where are we going for dinner?" Mu Qiqi appeared excited. "Did you know? I thought I wouldn't be able to meet you tonight." Xing Xiao brought Mu Qiqi to their usual spot, the revolving restaurant in the amusement park. In the VIP room, Mu Qiqi promptly sat beside Xing Xiao. "Xiao Xiao, give me a hug." Xing Xiao reached out and placed her on his thighs. Mu Qiqi promptly wrapped her arms around his neck and refused to let go. "I've worked hard all day just to hug you and absorb your energy." Xing Xiao ignored her and continued to put food in his mouth. Mu Qiqi quickly said at that, "Don't eat. Wait for me." Xing Xiao did not say a word. Instead, he simply cupped Mu Qiqi's head and sent the food into her mouth with a kiss. Mu Qiqi's face was burning, but she was enjoying the sweetness and ambiguity between her and Xing Xiao at the same time. She was simply addicted. Then Xing Xiao leaned Mu Qiqi back on the table and kissed her until they couldn't breathe. Stroking Mu Qiqi's swollen lips, Xing Xiao said longingly, "I wouldn't have let you go so easily if you hadn't gone to university." Mu Qiqi understood what he meant and said, "I can do it now." Chapter 55. Mu Qiqi looked at Xing Xiao from the side, her heart overflowing with happiness at the man she liked to the marrow of her bones. "By the way, Xiao Xiao, my teacher told me that the school has given Mu Tongxue a recommendation." Xing Xiao turned to look at her at that. "Are you sure?" "Yes." Xing Xiao said nothing else and focused on his meal, occasionally feeding Mu Qiqi some food he had cut from his plate. Spoiling this little thing made him feel happy all over. Although the little one was still young and her temperament was uncertain, and her liking might just be temporary admiration, Xing Xiao did not intend to play around. The little one was not going anywhere for the rest of her life. After dinner, Xing Xiao went to the washroom. In fact, he had called Jing Yun and told Eaton to cancel Mu Tongxue's recommendation no matter what. Even if his Qiqi did not want it, Mu Tongxue had no right to take advantage of it. After dinner, the two leaned against each other and watched the night view of the amusement park. Xing Xiao's exhaustion seemed to have faded away as well, and he was completely relaxed. He was a man who should be attending high-class banquets, but he seemed to prefer staying by his little one's side. Because he knew that right now he had the brightest time and the best of her life. Soon after nightfall, Mu Qiqi had to return to the small mansion. Although she could not see Xing Xiao at night, she felt energized after the kiss just now. "Good night, Xiao Xiao." Xing Xiao did not let her go at once, but hooked his arm around her waist and pulled her closer, before whispering seductively into her ear, "Hurry up and go to college." Mu Qiqi knew what that was and quickly freed herself from his arms, running all the way back to the small mansion. Xing Xiao followed her, and they stayed in the mansion for a few minutes before returning to the Xing residence. That was why Su Zipei was even more at ease. When they reached home, Xing Xiao found his mother sitting in his room, holding the cufflinks Mu Qiqi had made. He quickly snatched it and put it back into the box. "Since when did you learn to take things without asking, Mom? Where did you get this cheap thing? You're still treating it like a treasure." "A child gave it to me." Xing Xiao put the cufflinks in the drawer and turned to his mother. "What's the matter? You haven't been around at night recently." "Your father can't find you," Mama Xing replied. "Eighth brother, it's time to think about your life." Xing Xiao sat on the sofa and leaned back. Mom, to tell you the truth, I like men. Mama Sheng was stunned when she heard that. What nonsense are you talking about? I will definitely get married before I turn 28. You don't have to rush me anymore, Xing Xiao answered Mama Sheng subconsciously. Are you satisfied now? Mama Sheng nodded in satisfaction. That's more like it. Your father has something to discuss with you and your brothers. Pack up and go. Xing Xiao nodded. After Mama Sheng left, he took out the cufflinks from the drawer and studied them carefully. There were piles of diamonds at home, but he just had to like such a broken toy. Perhaps he was born to like being abused. In the small villa, Su Zipei did not ask Mu Qiqi about what happened last night. Mu Qiqi also pretended that nothing happened and pretended that she did not know anything. Su Zipei wanted to ask, but she was afraid of hurting Mu Qiqi. Until 2 days later, before Mu Qiqi went to school, she took out a gift box from her back and gave it to Su Zipei. Happy birthday, Aunt Zipei. Su Zipei looked at the box in surprise and asked Mu Qiqi, Thank you, my Qiqi. Open it quickly. I went out late at night to choose this gift. I went to many places with Chan Chan. See if you like it. After hearing Mu Qiqi's words, Su Zipei suddenly remembered that Mu Qiqi came back very late a few nights ago. Could it be that she was preparing a birthday gift for her? Was it that night 3 days ago? How did you know? Mu Qiqi pretended to be surprised. I saw you coming home. Su Zipei was relieved because Mu Qiqi did not go out to meet a man. She was preparing a birthday gift for her. Moreover, Mu Qiqi did not go out except to eat with Xing Xiao. How could there be a strange man? Mu Qiqi smiled and helped Su Zipei open the gift. She saw a cherry blossom brooch and held it in her hand, unable to put it down. Qiqi gave it to me. I would like it no matter what. Mu Qiqi felt sorry for Su Zipei because she did not dare to take the risk and tell her about Xing Xiao. She was afraid that her aunt would object and stop her. Apart from that, she would do anything for Su Zipei. That morning, Su Zipei was very touched and Mu Qiqi was very happy. But when they arrived at school, Mu Tangxue stood at the door of the classroom with a face full of hatred. She glared at Mu Qiqi. I have something to say to you. Say it here. Mu Qiqi did not want to give Mu Tangxue a chance to play tricks. Sister, are you sure you want to say it here? Mu Tangshua's eyes were cold as if she was provoked. Mu Qiqi nodded and did not show any weakness. Do you think we need to be so polite with each other? All right. Mu Tangxue turned away and appeared to be calming her emotions. Then she suddenly asked Mu Qiqi, You're the murderer of Grandma. How much more do you want to hurt the Mu family? It's fine if you don't want the recommendation, but why are you stopping me from getting it? What nonsense are you talking about? Mu Qiqi retorted. You dare say you didn't kill Grandma? You're a murderer. The Mu family chased you out of the family because you killed Grandma. Do you dare to admit that? Mu Tangxue was completely hysterical when she said those words. She had probably reached the limit of her endurance and was suppressed to the limit by Mu Qiqi. The recommendation that was almost in the bag was gone just like that. If it was not Mu Qiqi's doing, what else could it be? At worst, they could just fight to the death. She was having a hard time at home anyway and they might as well suffer together. The students crowded around Mu Tangxue because of what she said. What are you looking at? Mu Qiqi is the murderer. She killed her own grandma. Is this your true face? Mu Qiqi asked in return. You're finally taking off your mask? So it turns out that the weak young miss can also yell and shout, and also look at others with a malicious gaze. She can also be angry? I thought you wouldn't lose your temper for the rest of your life. Mu Qiqi, I've had enough of you. Mu Tangxue said agitatedly. What right do you have to take away what belongs to me? What belongs to you? Mu Qiqi retorted. You're too confident. I don't care. You murderer, I'll tell the whole world that you killed Grandma. Mu Tangxue was completely out of control now. She wanted to blow up the matter that Papa Mu had tried so hard to suppress, and she wanted Mu Qiqi to have no place in school. Chapter 56. However, Mu Tangxue clearly did not think about what would happen to her next. Papa Mu had paid a heavy price to keep the matter under wraps, but now that Mu Qiqi had made it public as she pleased, it was clear that she had been left helpless by Mu Qiqi's repeated counterattacks. That was why causing Grandma's death was the only move she could use against Mu Qiqi. Still, she had clearly misjudged the present situation. It was not because Mu Qiqi was afraid that Grandma Mu's death would be exposed. After all, Xing Xiao had warned Mu Qiqi many times that the Sheng family had lawyers who could deal with Mu Tangxue. That was why Mu Qiqi did not feel any fear at all. Instead, she smiled at Mu Tongxue. Mu Tongxue, you should prepare to collect your own corpse now that you've exposed the matter. I'm going to tell the world that you killed Grandma. Mu Tongxue insisted stubbornly. By then, more students were gathering around them, but Mu Qiqi was not fearful of being accused at all. She even smiled. You're saying that I killed Grandma? Well, I've been wanting to call the police for a long time and have them investigate the matter. I'll have Aunt Zipe call the police now. Since you want to make a big deal out of it, no one would be able to get away scot-free. With those words, Mu Qiqi whipped out her phone and called Su Zipe. Aunt Zipe, Mu Tongxue has exposed what happened to Grandma. Let's call the police. Mu Tongxue, on the other hand, was frightened when she saw that Mu Qiqi was not at all fearful, because she could feel the panic after getting into trouble. She had thought that Mu Qiqi would run away in fright, but Mu Qiqi's reaction was completely unexpected. Aunt Zipe has called the police. Mu Tongxue panicked when she saw Mu Qiqi raise her phone. Call the police then. Everyone in the family knows that you killed Grandma anyway. At those words, Mu Qiqi inched forward and glared at her sister. Do you have proof? There were only 2 of us in the room. I saw you feed Grandma the medicine with my own eyes. You said it yourself, there were only the 2 of us in the room. Your ability to pretend to be innocent is obvious to everyone. I clearly remember that when you fed the wrong medicine, your panicked expression was almost the same as now. With that, Mu Qiqi smiled at Mu Tongxue. We've already prepared a lawyer. Since you've blown things up, the lawyer will go to the Mu family later. Mu Tongxue paled when she heard that the lawyer was going to the Mu family. Since the matter has already been exposed, then, it won't be that easy to wrap things up. The whole city will know about the Mu family's scandal very soon. By that time, the shares of Mu Group will fall. I'm not in the Mu family anymore, so it doesn't matter. But what about you? Mu Tongxue stumbled and lost her footing, falling awkwardly onto the ground. Meanwhile, Mu Qiqi sneered and turned to face the surrounding students. I'm sorry, everyone. It's just a family scandal. However, everyone will know about it through the news in the future. So, I won't explain any further. With that, Mu Qiqi walked out of the crowd, with Qian Qian following her not far behind. Qian Qian jogged to catch up with Mu Qiqi, and could not help asking along the way, and here I was wondering why you 2 sisters were like fire and water. So it's because of Grandma. She's framed me for too many things, and this incident is the trigger for everything. Your sister is a pervert from start to finish. Qian Qian said, expressing her own feelings. Mu Qiqi laughed coldly, and calmly sent Xing Xiao a text message when she sat down in the classroom. Meanwhile, Mu Tongxue was dumbfounded. She realized that she had been too impulsive and caused a disaster. What should she do now? At that very thought, she quickly called Mama Mu, her voice clearly tearing. Mommy, I've caused trouble. Mama Mu was shocked too when she heard Mu Tongshue's words. Fortunately, it was only spread within the school, and the matter was not blown out of proportion. Mama Mu thought that as long as Mu Qiqi did not pursue the matter could be suppressed before Papa Mu found out. What are you spacing out for? There's no one else but your sister can save you now. Hurry up and beg her not to blow things up. Your father would skin you alive if he finds out. Why are you so impulsive, dear? Begging Mu Qiqi? Wouldn't that be worse than killing her? Still, Mu Tongxue shuddered at the thought of Papa Mu's face. She dared not think about anything else and promptly headed for the classroom. It was already time for class. Mu Tongxue walked to Mu Qiqi's side and reached out to grab her arm. I was too angry just now and said something I shouldn't have. I apologize, please forgive me. Mu Qiqi nodded. Mu Qiqi freed herself from Mu Tongshue's grip, and asked her in return, didn't you say that you couldn't take it anymore? Didn't you say that I killed Grandma and that the whole family knows? What? Now you realize that you said something you shouldn't have? Sis? I really didn't mean it. Please forgive me. Forgive? Mu Qiqi shot to her feet at that and glared at Mu Tongxue. You're going to be in big trouble and you're begging me for forgiveness now? However, I haven't forgotten how your little sister was able to deal fatal blows to me with every single move she made. I don't care what the Mu family wants. I don't care either. But Mu Tongxue, you keep challenging my bottom line. Do you really think that I'm still the same Mu Qiqi you bullied and took the blame for half a year ago? I must get justice for Grandma's death. Either you admit that you killed her or get the hell back to your seat. Don't try to frame me and apologize to me at the same time. You're so hypocritical it makes me sick. Do you understand? Mu Tongxue was really frightened this time and did not know what to do at all. Muchichi would not budge at all. She could only hide in the washroom and call her mother. Mommy? Sis won't budge. She said that she's going to get to the bottom of this. Mommy, what should I do? Don't panic. I'm coming to get you and I'll bring you to your grandfather. He loves you the most and he would definitely protect you. After the call, Mu Tangxue could only hide in the washroom, not daring to show herself because she had a guilty conscience. Mama Mu soon arrived at school and found Muchichi in class unscathed. In that very moment she felt that Muchichi was a cold-blooded demon. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.